Following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Out wide right with Ladero onto his favorite left foot. Finds Jack McGlynn centrally, just hit the post moments ago. No whistle as Musa got a tug of the jersey. We play on, ball in behind for Julio. Foot race here. Anderson, Julio, past Tarbell, empty net. Anderson, Julio!
For the first time in May, FC Dallas gets to play on their home ground after 3 road games in MLS play and 4 points gained in the process. This time, however, it's not league play, but it's the Toros' debut in the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Steadying their way is first-year side AV Alta FC, who plays in USL League One, the third division of the U.S. soccer pyramid. It's another chance at Open Cup glory for Dallas as they begin their journey through the U.S. Open Cup tonight. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas Pregame Show, presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. And we've got about 20 minutes until kickoff here at Toyota Stadium. So let's go ahead and get you tonight's starting lineups, which are brought to you by Advocare. We'll start first with the visiting AV Alta FC and first-year manager Brian Kleiban. It's Denzel Smith in net for AV Alta, Walmer Martinez, Miguel Parajo, Luca Mastrantonio, and Kaolin Pelanova for the back line, Osvaldo Ley and Mabumu Alassane on the midfield, Eduardo Blancas, Jerry Desdune, Emmanuel Alaribe, and Sebastian Cruz up top for the visitors, AV Alta FC. And now let's bring you the starting 11 for FC Dallas and first-year manager Eric Quill.
Michael Colodi, goalkeeper, Frisco, Texas.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Lalas Abubakar, central defender, University of Dayton.
Osaze Origide, centre back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Tikin Saveling, midfielder from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Luciano Costa, midfielder, I'm from Argentina.
Bernard Kamungo, I'm a winger, and I'm from Abilene, Texas.
Logan Farrington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
And the subs tonight for Dallas: Martin Paz, Anderson Julio, Pedrinho, Show, Alvaro Augusto, Tarek Scott, and Diego Garcia. And now let's bring in the voices of tonight's Open Cup contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Steve, I'll start with you. It's the Cup again. We do it every time right around this year. Dallas entering a little later this year due to the new format. But for those who are a little bit more unfamiliar with the Cup, what can they expect from tonight from more of a procedural standpoint?
From a procedural standpoint, what exactly does that mean, Sam? And howdy, by the way.
Howdy to you. Any special rules, differences that they might see as opposed to an MLS game?
I gotcha. Well, the first thing is the bench is a little bit shorter. Seven subs as opposed to the usual 9 that you'd see in a Major League Soccer match. Mostly, Sam, what you have to know about this is it's a knockout competition, so they tend to go a little differently. And one of my favorite memories of Toyota Stadium is 2016, watching this team and Mauro Diaz put on a classic performance, watching this team lift a cup, and right now they are 5 wins away.
Well, and Ryan, we talked to Eric Quill last week, and we brought up ahead of the San Diego match, hey, you've got a cup match coming up too, and he has been very consistent. We want to win this tournament, and the lineup tonight reflects it, as we'll talk about in just a minute.
Yeah, and I think, Saturday going the way it did, I think also influenced the match and then the lineup tonight, because when you lose 5-0 on the road, and I think this is the last time, we can all agree this is the last time we're going to talk about that game ever. When you lose 5-0 on the road, I think the first thing you want to do is build confidence back up, and this is a big opportunity for this lineup, which is very strong. I think you can only pick out a couple of points where they really rotated and made a decision that you wouldn't think is purely starting 11 base, and that's probably Kamungo in the front line and Sabeling in midfield and Colodi in goal. So outside of those, it's a very strong lineup. You're going to want to continue to build chemistry in the attack, and it's a big opportunity. They want to see goals, and we should see goals considering the level that FC Dallas is at compared to the opponents tonight. They don't want to look past AV Alta, but there needs to be an expectation of at least a few goals and a comfortable win.
And the big thing, Steve, they've returned back to that 4-4-2 diamond. We saw how the 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3, whatever you went in the game that Ryan has now apparently forbidden me to speak about ever again. But it appears that after a not fun outing on the West Coast, Eric Quill has returned a little bit more to his roots here in 2025.
Well, Ryan Figert, I'll tell you what, you're right. I'm never going to speak about that game again after right now. Because what I'm going to tell you is that Eric Quill has kind of said, hey, maybe I outsmarted myself a little bit. They finished that game against Miami in that 3-4-3 look. It got a little good to him, so he started off that way the other night. But he said, looking back, we probably didn't have enough time to train on it. So yes, tonight they go back to what they know, and I really hope that we sort of stay here for a little while instead of sort of moving in and out of formations while they're still moving in and out of different personnel looks. I think it's going to help them, and I think tonight you're going to see a little bit better structure. The other night, we talked about on the broadcast how players didn't look sharp. I think some of that is they just weren't sure of their positioning. They weren't sure of roles and responsibilities, and when you're not sure where to be and you're sort of reacting instead of being on the front foot and taking initiative, I think that's what happened. So good to see them back to that 3-4-3 look tonight.
Two specific players I want to talk about, and Ryan, I'll start here with you. Lucho Acosta gets the start tonight, and he's coming off a run of games that are not up to the Lucho standard that we expect. This feels like if there's ever an opportunity for a get-right game, it's a midweek U.S. Open Cup game against a team from the third division, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, he's making a little bit of a career milestone. This is his 300th career domestic appearance in the United States, so that speaks to his longevity, his time with D.C. and Cincinnati. And going back to Cincinnati, his last Open Cup run he participated in, they made it to the semifinals in 2023. They were knocked out in penalties against Inter Miami. They really pushed for the cup. He played from the first round that they entered. I think this is a tournament that he wants to win, and he was the first one to talk to Eric Quill and say, hey, I want to be in the lineup tonight.
I remember that game, by the way. He was good, and at the end, I was yelling at Cincinnati. I was screaming at them. They had Miami on the ropes, and they kept going for the last killer goal instead of just trying to play out the game and ended up getting tied and going.
And somehow Houston ended up in the Open Cup.
Yes,
out of all
exactly.
That,
so I'm still mad about that one.
Yeah, truly a terrible outcome in all regards. The other player of interest, Steve, is Bernard Comungo. He's been on a bit of an odyssey since last year. He's been tried at wingback. He's been tried at winger. He's been tried at striker. Tonight he'll play next to Logan Farrington at the top of this time. And as much as Lucho could stand in a pretty good game, boy, Bernard Comungo could stand himself just a whopper of a game if he can find one tonight.
Yeah, you and I and Ryan here, we were all speaking before the broadcast started that we think Bernie's had some good appearances off the bench, and I think that's true. His starts haven't been what he would have wanted, but off the bench he's actually come in and given them a spark. So tonight, with he and Siki coming into the lineup, I think they need to show something. Show that they can also be productive as starters. And I've just got one piece of advice for young Bernard Comungo. Bernie, trust Lucho. When Lucho gets the ball and gets his head up, start your run. He'll find it. He'll find you. And if he doesn't, circle back out and start another run. He'll find that one. So just trust him. Don't wait. Start the run. Find the space. He will find you.
Well, and Ryan, that's really where Bernard had a lot of his success in his initial rookie season where he scored 5 times. He was never really a monster where he dribbled up. He was the guy that used his speed and craftiness to get behind the defense. Someone fed him in, and he had a really good finishing ability, so that's a pairing that could work out really well tonight.
Yeah, I think we even saw it in the game that we're not going to speak about. At the end of it, he had a couple of good runs behind. I think he was the closest to making a run that was well-timed to a Lucho pass, so if that can continue to grow into this game tonight, I think it'd be a recipe for success.
He who won't be named, what series?
Voldemort?
Yes, exactly.
I can't believe we just said that over the air.
We're not doing, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're not doing that. But another player, before we get to AV Alta tonight, that's getting a start, Lalo Sabubakar plays alongside Osaze Urigide. And, Steve, everyone looks better next to Osaze Urigide. I'm pretty sure everyone in this broadcast booth would look better, being the relative term there, next to Osaze. But he is showing himself in more and more times. He had a little bit of a groin issue against Minnesota, but he has proven himself to be a worthy partner to Osaze Urigide so far.
Well, I think even in that Minnesota match, Sam, he was fine before he had to leave at halftime with that groin issue, and ended up being not that big a deal. But, look, Osaze Urigide is one of the best defenders, if not the best center back in Major League Soccer. You're right, anybody's going to look better, more confident next to him, but the key here is that they're back in that 2 center back system that I think they're better at anyway.
And we'll see Nolan Norris as well, who also has benefited. Really, everyone has benefited from Osaze Urigide. Well, let's look at the opponents tonight. AV Alta FC out of Lancaster, California. And if you're wondering, well, I've never heard of that team, it's because they're brand new. They just started play this year. They were officially founded last year, but they play out of Lancaster, California in the Hangar, which is actually the minor league baseball stadium that used to host the Lancaster Jethawks. So you can see the theme here. Their logo is kind of shaped like a B-52 bomber. They're kind of leaning into that whole aesthetic. They're in the 3rd division of U.S. Soccer, USL 1. And I'm going to reach out to my partner because I need some help here. If you were trying to explain USL League One to a more casual fan, how would you go about doing it? Because I really couldn't do it that well.
No, you just did. Third tier. There are officially designated tiers of soccer as established by U.S. Soccer Federation, the governing body of soccer in this country. They set standards like you have to have a stadium of a certain size, things like that. And third tier soccer is exactly that. You know, you got the USL Championship is the second tier, Major League Soccer, of course, being top tier, and then MLS Next Pro and this one, USL League One, is the third tier. By the way, you mentioned they play in this former baseball stadium, but they took a couple of $1 million and they made that a pretty nice little stadium.
Oh, it's a really cool place. I highly recommend it.
5,300. They renovated it the right way for soccer. It's Lancaster, California, is about 60 miles exactly due north of Los Angeles, although you can't get there because there's a big forest in between, so you got to kind of drive around. So it's about an hour and a half due north. But I like the project that you have going on there, and I wish them the best of luck. Come about 9:30 tonight.
Yeah, and just from an FC Dallas standpoint, thinking about USL League One, that is where North Texas SC was founded, with Eric Quill as the head coach when they won the league and the playoffs, the championship of that division back in 2019. So that's a little bit of FC Dallas history in USL League One.
And they've got some interesting names. Miguel Ibarra, the former MLS player, was their first signing. Unfortunately, he's not going to play tonight. He didn't travel with the squad. Their head coach has experience in places such as Barcelona and Chivas USA. The first half of that a lot more interesting than the second half. And Steve, we see this all the time when we watch the U.S. Open Cup in the early rounds and the later rounds. There's not a team you can't take seriously because the cup set magic is very real in this tournament.
Well, and depending on which way you want to look at this, yesterday, as 16 teams have come from Major League Soccer into this round of 32, MLS teams yesterday were 5-0. So the other Major League Soccer teams, 11 of them are starting tonight. Of the 16 that were included. By the way, they picked those 16 MLS teams, basically the 16 lowest from the standings that didn't participate in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So there's going to be an upset somewhere. We just hope it's not here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. When you say 5-0, people are like, "Oh, you feel secure." No. The cup set magic looms, and
it's going to catch somebody out.
That's
the point. You almost wish it was last night.
Yes, it yearns for blood, and I hope it doesn't find its blood tonight in Frisco. Well, someone who never finds blood is Steve Davis. He has our keys to the match. I don't know. I'm trying over here, man. It's a midweek U.S. Open Cup game. It's our keys to the match. They're presented by Toyota. Steve Davis, take it away.
No violence will be done on this keys to the match. Number one, be up for the fight. I guess it's kind of violent, isn't it? That didn't work out very well. All right, upsets do happen every year, so the teams from the lower tiers, they get up for these matches. If you don't get your head right from the first minute, you're in for a real scrap. Number two, back to basics. The lower tiers of American soccer, they do get better every year. There's quality out there, but there is still a gap, especially in depth and in the collective. So FC Dallas has the greater quality here. So, I think that as long as they do get back to basics tonight, good, solid tactical approach, they'll be okay. Number three, they got to find some wing play. They used wing backs over the weekend, but still got too narrow for big stretches. Logan Farrington can get the job done as striker, but he does need the service. And when you stretch the field, you open up more room for those Luchos and the other creators in there. And Unviolent Edition. Those are your keys, presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve. Well, the players are walking out right now, so that brings to a close today's U.S. Open Cup edition of the pregame show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for opening kickoff here. It's the U.S. Open Cup, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup opening match for FC Dallas as they play AV Alta FC. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AV Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Logan Farrington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Well, welcome to Toyota Stadium tonight, and welcome to the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. FC Dallas, twice champions, twice runners-up, are looking to bring the cup back to Frisco this season once again. Their journey starts here in the round of 32 against one of the newest names in the U.S. soccer sphere, and that's AV Alta FC out of Lancaster, California, and competing in USL League One. They pulled a cup set in the last round, and they're looking to continue to make noise tonight against FC Dallas, who will be heavy favorites, but they'll be on high alert. I'm Ryan Figert, and alongside me tonight, of course, is Steve Davis. Steve, welcome to this year's edition of the Open Cup. Happy to be with you here as the team sits 5 wins from a trophy.
Hey, how about that? The trophy that's got Uncle Lamar's name on it. So good to be out here with you, and looking forward to a good game.
And Steve, if I was going to describe to a new FC Dallas fan the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, here's how I would describe it, for better or for worse. FC Dallas plays a couple of games against lower division opposition, and then they come up against Sporting Kansas City, and then they go home. Because since they won the competition in 2016, Dallas has been eliminated 6 times. The tournament wasn't held for 2 of those years. 4 of those by Sporting Kansas City. But here's the thing, Kansas City not in this year's edition of the tournament. They were in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and that means the trophy is just that much closer to FC Dallas, Steve.
Yeah, but the thing is, all of those games, Kansas City was winning the flips. So I don't know, what Peter Vermees was doing up there with some kind of magnet or something, but those games were always up in Kansas City. So I just wanted to see one of those here at Toyota Stadium, and that's where Dallas is today.
And FC Dallas going pretty strong with their lineup tonight, but one place they have rotated is bringing Michael Collodi in goal. And the young Dallas homegrown made some headlines with his performance on the road against RSL, got a clean sheet. What are you expecting to see from him going back to that game and bringing it to his first start here at home?
We saw him last year in that MLS Next Pro playoff run for North Texas SC, and he was always up for the game there. He's a big game player. We saw him in that the first shutout of the year for FC Dallas, so I expect to see him very solid in that.
And he takes his spot in net, just threw his water bottle into the net as
Both
well.
of them.
Both of the water bottles. He's ready to go, as it is a little warm today. Maybe we got to stay hydrated, as Michael Collodi will be in the goal down to our right in all purple. Dallas in the red and blue, moving from right to left in this first half. Captained, of course, by Lucho Acosta, who gets the start. He's still looking for a U.S. Open Cup title to go with, his long, illustrious career, making his 300th appearance in domestic competitions in the United States, going back to his time with D.C. and Cincinnati. Closest he's come, 2023 semifinal with Cincinnati. And this is the best opportunity for anyone competing in the Open Cup this year from an MLS standpoint to win a trophy, Steven. That's going to be on the mind of everybody that was picked and everybody that might come in off the bench tonight.
Yeah, there's another team over there. They got something else on their mind, the U.S. Open Cup set. And, the coach, Eric Quill, he knows a little bit about that, doesn't he? Because last year when he was with New Mexico United, they were actually on the right end of one of those cup sets. They upset RSL in the 4th round last year, and then went on the road, beat NYCFC 2 after that, then put up a good fight against LAFC in the quarterfinals. So Eric Quill knows a little bit about this tournament now from both sides.
He does. He played in it as a player back with the Dallas Burn and his career in MLS. He coached it from the New Mexico side and USL, and now he leads an MLS team in the Open Cup for the very first time tonight, as we are seconds away from getting things started here in the round of 32. Our referee tonight, Sergei Demianchuk, assisted by Jennifer Garner and Sanche Yinda Kahinde, running with the flag tonight.
And as far as we know, no VAR in this one, correct?
Correct. No VAR, and if it's still tied after 90 minutes, we will go to extra time and eventually a shootout. MLS teams 5-0 yesterday in the round of 32. Dallas hoping to continue that streak and avoid any funny business in Frisco tonight. Lucho Acosta awaiting the referee's whistle to get things going as the shade cascading across the field at Toyota Stadium. A large majority of it shaded, still some sun peeking out on the far side where the renovations have begun. And a longer wait than anybody expected here as still await the referee's whistle. This one being streamed on Paramount Plus. So we thank you for listening with us tonight, whether you're watching along or on the go on the FC Dallas app or the FC Dallas YouTube channel. Thank you for listening as FC Dallas are underway. It's dropped off to Michael Collodi, and the cup run begins in 2025. Dallas moving from right to left. AV Alta FC and a light kit with some nice dark green accents moving from left to right. They've got it here, going long, looking for the head of their striker, Emmanuel Alaribe. On the dribble through midfield here. Nice tackle from Ramiro. Farrington comes away with it. Kamungo gets his first touch. And now it's out to Nolan Norris, restored to the team after he was a DNP in San Diego on Saturday.
Both teams starting at a very high pace. A lot of energy out there.
Ball down the line. As we're getting to grips with some of the AV Alta players, trying to spot who's playing where. Looks like that was Sebastian Cruz, who's won a free kick, first of the game, just inside the Dallas half. Didn't mention in the pregame show, wanted to get this one off. It is Short King Week, 5'5" through 5'9", and this Dallas midfield is 5'3", 5'6", 5'7", and 5'9", and they're diamond 4 with Ramiro, Siki Nsabaling, Kaike, and Lucho Acosta. I don't think you'll get a shorter midfield in the entire Open Cup round of 32 than that.
Dallas' best midfields ever was Dax McCarty, Davi Ferreira, and Daniel Hernandez. McCarty was about 5'7", Davi Ferreira was about 5'6", and Daniel Hernandez was he was a tall guy. He was probably about 5'10".
Yeah, some positions height is a prerequisite. I don't think midfield really is one of those. Ramiro sliding in to win it off the throw. Under one over Logan Farrington and cleared away by Miguel Parajo. All the way back now to Michael Collodi. First touch for him. Sazi Urigide out to Nolan Norris. Norris looking to go direct into the feet of Farrington. That one's taken away from the former Oregon State Beaver, but possession stays with Dallas. Collodi, ball along the ground right through the middle, finds Kaike, drop to Ramiro. Now Siki Nsabaling can drive forward, out to Lucho Acosta, breaking in off the left wing. He's got options infield, goes through the legs of the defender, looking for Farrington. Nsabaling tries to keep it alive, and it's out of play. Last touch off the visiting AV Alta.
Really nice sequence there of FC Dallas playing out of the pressure, started by Collodi, just pinging a pass in the midfield.
Acosta, nice back heel to Farrington, now spreading it out wide to Shaq Moore inside the 18. Shaq Moore across in towards Lucho, and there's the first goal 3 minutes in.
Oh, that's just pretty. Back to front. Little dummy soul, ball whipped out to Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore taking the initiative, doing what we didn't see enough of the other day, which is, being aggressive, taking that first touch right at goal, putting it across. There's Lucho Acosta, knock it in from close range. He wasn't going to miss from there, Lucho.
13 career Open Cup games before tonight for Lucho Acosta. 2 goals and 2 assists. He's got one just 3 minutes into his Open Cup debut with FC Dallas. Assisted by another new player this year in Shaq Moore. Really nice team move there from the home side.
Yeah, the passing, as I said, to start the maneuver back to front was really crisp on sort of the second phase of that possession. More one touch, Edric and passing. It's a really pretty goal.
And it sort of settles the nerves, right, of any sort of cup set energy that might come from the visitors.
Just don't get carried away.
Getting that early goal, this definitely does a lot for the confidence, especially of a team coming off a 5-0 loss on the weekend. Now here's Jerry Dejoun, I think is really the danger man for the visitors, the Haitian left winger. Lost it there. He had a couple of goals against Ventura County Fusion, formerly had Logan Farrington amongst their ranks in the USL League 2. That was the team that AV Alta started this run against.
Going back to the goal, it was a nice pass across from Logan Farrington.
Here's Alaribe now after a turnover. Alaribe towards the near post, and that one just about snuck past Collodi, and he can thank his post that this one is still 1-0.
Collodi got down quick and good. but he just let that ball slip past him after making the stop. Going back, it was a nice little dummy that went across the dummy at Farrington, swinging the ball out to Shaq Moore. Just really good work all the way around. And then as Moore whipped the ball back in from the corner of the penalty area, near the corner of the penalty area, he had 3 runners in there, so I also like that from Dallas, being aggressive, getting those numbers forward.
Alaribe goes down under a tackle from Norris. He stayed down, no foul. Possession stays with the visitors. And eventually a whistle goes against Lucho Acosta for a foul on Pelivanov.
Sikia and Sabling over there wiggling out, doing what he does, wiggling out a little bit of pressure, and getting foul called, getting called his way, hoping to get them out of that press a second ago.
Still waiting to restart play as Alaribe, who hit that shot off the post moments ago, picks himself up.
Yeah, it's a good response from AV Alta as they got right back after it. Deshun pushing down the left side, and then good chance coming through the middle through Alaribe.
Alaribe, a goal in each of the last 2 rounds for AV Alta. They got past Ventura County Fusion in the opening round, then knocked off LAFC 2 in extra time before winning in a penalty shootout against Orange County SC of the USL Championship. So that was a cup set in the round of 64. Sabalang trying to be combative in midfield, and he's giving away a free kick here. This one's centrally and 40 yards from goal, and he's got a yellow card as well. First of the game.
I'm not sure I saw a yellow card in that one. It was definitely a foul. But it's not like there wasn't a lot of cover there. I don't think it was tactical. It was just a foul about 45 yards from goal.
Eric Quill's got his arms outstretched as well on the touchline. And for those keeping track, he's got the black hat on tonight. I think this is a season debut for the black cap. Nice all-black fit for the manager tonight. Drew Keyshawn up alongside him. He's in charge of these defensive set pieces as Dallas sets their line on the edge of the 18-yard box. Leading here 1-0 in the 7th minute. Looks like it'll be Jerry Dejun to stand over this. The Haitian raises a left arm, lifts it in, header easily won by Farrington. It'll be kept alive by Sebastian Cruz for AV Alta. They'll cycle it through the back line now. Nolan Norris pressing high, and he's got a foot on the ball, finds Kaike, and the whistle goes for a foul as Norris was tripped up. Talking about tactical fouls, that yellow card for Siki moments ago, that was more of a tactical foul as Dallas had some runners and a potential counter. And Sabalang, ball ahead to Kamungo, laid back for Ramiro. And Sabalang, the only player in this Dallas 11 who hasn't made a start this season, but he's been, of course, heavily involved as a substitute. Norris has another free kick, this one back in his usual left back spot. Fouled there as he was challenging for a header by Eduardo Blancas. Time in the center circle for Ramiro. Picks his head up, sees Farrington making the run in behind. Touch off the defender, but Farrington retrieves. Combining with Shaq Moore. And now Kaike getting involved. Oh, nice flick from the Brazilian. Here's Farrington, into the 18 along the right side. Farrington, low cross, swung in. Deflected on its way through and then cleared away. Ramiro keeps it alive on the edge of the box. Kaike sets it down for Lucho, edge of the D. Lucho past one. And holding another defender on his hip there before he ran into the center backs. Dallas will keep possession.
I think Abubakar got away with one there, put both hands out, hit a rebate, but didn't get the call.
Sabalang out to Lucho Acosta, providing the width on the near side. Kamungo, quick 1-2. Now Lucho on the dribble. Oh, past the outsliding challenge there of the AV Alta defender, and then Kamungo swings a low ball in towards Ramiro. Cut out and cleared away.
Nice little combination work there between Lucho Acosta and Bernie Kamungo. Kamungo just not quite hitting that ball with enough pace across goal.
Really weird referee performance so far through 9 minutes. There's another one that goes against Dallas. Just kind of a non-contact foul there. We play on here. Far from the story of the game. 10 minutes in, Dallas leading through Lucho Acosta. AV Alta looking for a response. Ball ahead. Cut out by a sliding Lawless Abubakar.
An aggressive challenge. Abubakar got it right.
This is the biggest day in the history of AV Alta FC as they play in their inaugural season.
I mean, when you talk about history for AV Alta, competitive history, it goes back way back to, what about last month?
They've played a few games in the league, a few games in the Open Cup, a few games in the Jägermeister Cup, which is another competition hosted by the USL. This is by far their biggest day, and it may well be for a long time. For a team of USL League One to make it to this stage is impressive in and amongst itself. Norris back to Collodi inside his own 6-yard box. Now lifts it out towards Shaq Moore. Just a little bit too much air underneath it, and Moore can't keep it in play.
Yeah, Collodi's got that pass. He's got it in his bag. He just put a little too much on that one.
Possession with the visitors out of the Antelope Valley, which I learned exists today, and that's what the AV stands for in AV Alta. Maybe I'm doing myself a disservice. I learned about it yesterday when I was preparing for the game. There's the ball ahead for Alaribe, but he's offside.
By about 4 steps.
Easy decision there for Jennifer Garner, the assistant referee on the near side. Ramiro caught on it in a bad spot. AV Alta unable to punish. Zurigide came across the cover. Now back to Collodi. Off his left foot. Ball forward looking for the run of Kamungo.
That was way too casual from an experienced player like Ramiro.
Ramiro and Acosta there defending against Osvaldo Ley. And it's AV Alta who come away with it. Now Dejun can run at Shaq Moore into the 18. Low cross in. Easily dealt with by Urigide. Ball breaks though for a shot from distance. I believe that was Sebastian Cruz with the effort. Blocked. Possession still with AV Alta. Pavlanov up the right wing. Norris goes in with a hard tackle and wins a foul. It's the Bulgarian fullback.
Important that Nolan Norris has a good outing here. You know, he had that rookie game a couple weeks ago at Miami. Ian having a lot of trouble dealing with Ian Frey, who's a good player, but he needs a bounce-back game here.
And Dallas went without a left back in San Diego. Now he's back in the 11. As Farrington trying to pick out a run from Kamungo there. Farrington now fighting for the loose ball after it was blocked up into the air. Breaks for Dejun in the Alta half. And they will retain possession here. Good response to going a goal down inside 3 minutes from the League One side.
Skeleton crew over there from the FC Dallas supporters group, but still sound good.
The Rhine, not quite at full voice, but making themselves heard for sure. Here's a chance for Dejun to run at the Dallas back line ahead to Cruz. Knocked out wide. Back to Cruz. Trying to get towards the byline. Abubakar able to play it off him and behind for a goal kick. Well, the best way to experience FC Dallas soccer is with a season ticket membership, which has a host of benefits, including, by the way, a ticket for this game that make this the best option in sports, including a complimentary MLS Season Pass subscription, discounts on concessions at Toyota Stadium, and much more. You can find the membership that's perfect for you at fcdallas.com/memberships. Lucho Acosta looking for a first-time ball in towards Kamungo. Talked about in the open how Kamungo has to sort of predict and understand what Lucho's going to do rather than always react and be a second slow. That's what it seemed like there. Be proactive rather than reactive.
Talking about potential cup sets. Pittsburgh Riverhounds giving NYCFC all they can handle tonight. The game's approaching the hour mark. It's still 0-0.
Norris with a nice interception there, and first time ball into Farrington. Farrington trying to find Acosta. Those two can't connect there. And Walmer Martinez will recover possession for AV Alta. The next round matchup for the winner of tonight is already decided, and that will be in Harrison, New Jersey against the New York Red Bulls, May 21st. And if Dallas is to advance, of course, we will bring that one to you on the FC Dallas Radio Network as well. Farrington putting the pressure higher up the field, and he's one possession back as well. Now there's runners in the attack alongside him. Farrington passed one on the dribble, and coming across to close the lane was Osvaldo Ley. Farrington, who scored his first professional goal in the Open Cup at Toyota Stadium a year ago. Here's a shot from way out, and this one's caught Collodi in a bad spot, and it's bounced over his head, and Alarive has an equalizing goal out of nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's out of nothing. That's a really clever play from Alaribe. We told
looks like Osvaldo Ley, my mistake.
Oh, it's Ley, so we told you there's quality in this league, and the ball just ends up sitting upright for him, and he sees Collodi at that aggressive starting position. Collodi sort of makes a mistake when he lets that ball bounce once, and then he can't catch up with it after the bounce. This shot is going to come from 8 steps inside his own half.
On the volley, and bounced in front of Collodi and had the top spin to take it into the net. The Panamanian has a shock equalizer here, and that may well go down, regardless of the result tonight, as goal of the round. It'd be hard to beat. And now we'll see what Dallas can muster up as a response as we sit here all tied at 1 in the 16th minute. And Sabaleng on the dribble into the attacking half, and Sabaleng finds Acosta. Acosta wide right for Shaq Moore. Left the pass just short of the right back. And now it'll be AV Alta with a chance to go the other way. Sebastian Cruz in midfield from closer to goal than where Ley just scored moments ago.
Sabaleng had done so well to drive that ball through the midfield on the dribble, fighting off a couple of challenges, and then Acosta on the spin just didn't get the angle right or the weight right one.
I wonder, too, if the sun played any role in that, as it's still sort of behind where Collodi would be looking. Here's Acosta poking it forward for the run of Ramiro out of midfield. Walmer Martinez gets there first for AV Alta, and ahead to Sebastian Cruz. Cruz on a dribble up the left wing, looking for somebody to connect with, and it's back to Martinez. Possession with AV Alta deep in their own half here, and the ball ahead intercepted easily by Shaq Moore right on the halfway line.
I honestly don't know if Collodi has much blame on that one. I think that's just a heck of a heads-up play and a really good strike from Osvaldo Ley.
Shaq Moore, time on the ball here. Returned to him by Acosta. Kaike now involved as well. Kaike ball through, looking for more. That one overhit. Easy for Alisane to pick off. Norris comes flying in, wins the first header. And he's going to press the issue, but now it's put in behind where he's vacated. And Kamungo has to make the recovery run and wins a free kick right on the halfway line. Now Norris trying to weight this one over the top for Farrington. Not far away, but bounces past him and into the waiting arms of Denzel Smith. Experienced international keeper for Trinidad and Tobago.
I mean, what you'd say about Dallas right now is after that third-minute goal, slightly concerning that they haven't really created another good look since then. Bernie Kamungo with that one ball that he flashed across from the left center channel.
Here's Dejun on the dribble, sliding tackle from Ramiro, wins it back from him, and now Uragide goes flying in and commits a foul.
Uragide needs to be careful here. It's a tough foul, and then he turned around and yelled at referee Sergei Demianchuk.
And in this 20 minutes of action so far, it's still baffling that the foul that drew a yellow card was Sikiad Sabaleng with a little trip from behind. That was certainly more forceful than what drew yellow previously, but Uragide won't complain. Free kick here from 40 yards out, now lifted in by Dejun. First contact won by AV Alta, but they were offside. And the flag goes up.
Looking at that again, I think that Urguide got enough of the ball there. He did lunge in and sort of had that leg out straight, but he got plenty of ball, and I think that's why it was just a foul and not a yellow card.
Restart play after the offside.
Yeah, as Colodi takes that free kick quickly, I just wonder, you hope it hasn't shaken the young goalkeeper's confidence.
Sabling trying to play a ball towards Farrington from his own half. Off the mark. Dallas not really able to get Farrington too involved here through 20 minutes. Pedermusa's return is on the horizon. Could be as soon as this Saturday against RSL or perhaps the week after against Houston. There's a ball in behind, and Alaribe is going to give chase. That one's spinning out of play. Urguide made sure to have it covered anyway.
Yeah, you saw Urguide get into about third gear on that one, and just make sure he had enough. To see that ball out of bounds.
Norris on the dribble from outside to in, finds Kaique centrally. Kaique out to the run of Farrington. Shackmore goes on the overlap, 3 to his left. Farrington still on it, now finds Shackmore, already picked up an early assist in this one. Low cross looking to return to Farrington. It is volleyed clear. Here's a loose touch though, and Ramiro's onto it. Now Kaique centrally, not a lot of pressure on him. Finds in Sabling. Sabling head up, finds the ball out to Shackmore. A lot of space for the Dallas right back, and runners in the area, swung in. And headed away by Alaribe. Sorry, Alassane with the header. Dallas trying to step the pressure up here. As Alta on it in their own half. Ball forward into the feet of Alaribe. Nice first touch from him. Finds Dejoun. And on the overlap, Sebastian Cruz. Cruz goes in. Both he and Abubakar lunging towards the ball. Possession stays with the visitors.
Dallas's shape behind the ball a little concerning there, because just for a moment it looked like one of the problems they had the other day against San Diego, that once, if they don't win it on the press, they've still got to be solid behind the press. And they were a little out of shape there.
Dejoun finding some space in midfield. Dropped off for Martinez, the left back. Now under pressure from Kaique. Back to Alassane and Master Antonio, the two center backs tonight for AV Alta. Pevelinov going to try and put this one in behind. Urguide easily covering the run. And then finds Ramiro, who goes back to Michael Colodi. Ramiro, who will be suspended on Saturday due to yellow card accumulation. Got wiped out there after he released the pass, and that was pretty needless, I believe, from the goal scorer Osvaldo Ley.
Abubakar going a little quickly on the free kick there for Demianchuk's liking. He was still having a little talk session.
Urguide ball ahead to Sabling. Some space for him. Finds Acosta on the halfway line. Now Norris going to lift this one towards Farrington. Header one by Alassane. Dallas keep possession. Acosta in his own half. Again, Ley biting at the heels of Ramiro, and he turned as he got the pass away and sort of motioned to the referee. That's a few now. Here's Colodi putting the ball in behind for the run of Kaique. And Kaique unable to keep it in play. Under pressure from two AV Alta players. Right now, the applause and the encouragement coming from the AV Alta bench and their head coach, Brian Kleiben. Got to feel they're right in this game here in the 25th minute.
Sabling and Kaique playing essentially the same position as those two box-to-box midfielders ahead of the holding man, Ramiro. And I got to say right now, I'm not really feeling like Kaique is having a lot of influence on the game, at least not attacking-wise.
Would have won a free kick there, but I think the referee played advantage. Dallas immediately gave it away. And it's all the way back to Denzel Smith, visiting goalkeeper. He's keeping Former Dallas homegrown Carlos Aviles out of the team now.
Saw Knight Pickering score a goal the other day against Aviles.
There's an FC Dallas throwback
Academy
connection.
against Academy violence there.
Pickering now with Las Vegas Lights, I believe.
That's correct. I think that's the last time AV Alta has played.
Yeah, last Wednesday, a week ago. So there's some decent rest for the visitors compared to Dallas coming off the trip to San Diego. Ball out of play for an AV Alta throw. Right on the halfway line on the far side. Dropped back for Walmer Martinez. Mastrantonio, central defender, now lifted forward for Alaribe, taken down off the chest by Urigide.
Smooth defending
Supreme
there.
confidence from Osazi there. And then Kalodi into Nsableng, and Nsableng nearly gave it away, and Nsableng whistled for a foul. He's already been booked. And we'll see how lenient the referee decides to be here, because there were numbers in the press in the attack for AV Alta.
Well, he took a poor touch as that ball came into him from Kalodi at about 25 yards out. And then as he scrambled to get it back, he got a little shoulder into the back there of Alaribe.
Wondering, too, if it was just not the time to play into him with 3 players around. You have to see a replay of it.
I guess it was Alassane, not Alaribe, that he fouled.
I mean, it's a decent ball from Kalodi, but I'm not sure where Nsableng is supposed to go with it once he receives it with the players around him.
Yeah, I think right there what he's got to do, you're right, it maybe wasn't the best time to play into him, but he's got to understand he's got 2 men around and bracketing him, and he's just got to knock that one right out wide into Shaq Moore or into the stands.
So now this free kick opportunity for AV Alta. Nsableng escaped a second booking.
It's at about 25 yards dead center.
It's probably right where you'd set it down if you could pick a spot. Yep. DeJean looks like he may well take it. No, he leaves it, and the shot blocked there. It was Eduardo Blancas with the effort. And then Acosta clearing out DeJean, chasing for the loose ball on the far side. It's going to be another attacking set piece for AV Alta.
So Dallas right now just has to be a little smarter about where they defend and how they defend. I mean, eventually giving up set-piece opportunities like this is going to bite you. It's already bit them in terms of a yellow card into Nsableng. A little soft, to be fair.
Dallas going to set the line a couple of yards into their 18-yard box here. Everybody back defending in red and blue. 2 players in the wall, Kaike and Lucho Acosta. DeJean off the right foot, and Kalodi catches it out of the top corner. But the referee never blew the whistle, and so now he's going to get another chance at it. I think that's pretty poorly handled. You hear the fans agree.
The crowd agrees, and I kind of think I do as well.
If you take it too early and you just give it to the other team's goalkeeper, you shouldn't get a second chance
100%.
at it. And that's what they've got here. It's going to be DeJean again. And DeJean into Kalodi's outstretched arms. He punches it clear. And he got some distance on the punch, too. It almost made it to the halfway line.
Look, it's not the worst refereeing moment you're ever going to see. But we were way back when I was 13 years old and took a referee course. I just remember the instructor talking about sometimes guys just use your good common sense, and that would seem to apply there. Like you said, if you played it a little early and you messed it up anyway, and the other team has the ball, I think the referee is better just to say, "Let's go, boys."
Possession with the visitors. Dallas going to try and press here. Kaike up against Martinez, the left back, steps past him and Ramiro. Now into the attacking half. DeJean drives it forward, finds Sebastian Cruz. Martinez to Cruz, who just swings the ball in high up in the air. Norris wins the header. Farrington out-muscled there. We don't see that often. That was Pevelanov, Bulgarian.
One more time, Ryan. The structure there, as As the ball moved down the left side for AV Alta, I'm looking up, and there's 4 men back for Dallas, but all 3 midfielders are behind the ball as the ball is about 30 yards away from FC Dallas goal, and that's not what you want to see.
After such a strong start and the goal 3 minutes in, I think the concerns are starting to show. Same concerns we saw in San Diego at the weekend. There's Farrington, 2 defenders around him. And at some point, the referee's got to blow the whistle. Eventually, he did. Right in front of Eric Quill on the Dallas bench. Dallas get the ball rolling here, going short. Kaike going to lift it out towards Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore gets there first. Now finds Ramiro. It's the furthest player forward. Flicks it over the head of Cruz.
Kind of weird to see Ramiro up there 20 yards ahead of Lucio Acosta, but okay, it's working now.
Acosta trying to run a 1-2 there with Nsabeling. Defended by AV Alta, who then give it away to Abubakar. Now Shaq Moore, ball in behind for Bernie Kamungo. Bernie inside the area, goes down, sliding tackle. Referee waves it away.
Lucio Acosta, little moment of humor there. He's playing the ball and appealing to the referee all at the same time. You're good, you can do that.
Some people can multitask.
Yeah.
Others can't. Nsabeling back out to Shaq Moore. Got the assist on the opening goal for Dallas. His first for the club. Whistle goes, and Nsabeling has got to be careful now. That's his second or third since picking up a yellow card.
Well, at this point, that's something that's a message that's got to come from the bench. He's got to call him over right now and say, Siki, you cannot foul again.
And as Dallas has struggled since scoring, but
that
would be a disaster, right? To go down to 10 men, that would really flip this tie on its head.
It would be. Somebody out there, whether it's Lucho, Logan, somebody's got to pull him over and say, that's it.
I saw the referee do that as we were waiting to resume play. Oh, Uragide, what a nice touch to keep it away from Alaribe. I think he does something every week that just gets you up off your seat, and how often can you say that about a center back?
Well, a while ago I mentioned that I thought Siki was a much more important influence in terms of moving the ball to the midfield, but right now he's being an influence in a different way.
Norris ball forward looking for Acosta, can't find his strike partners. Stop me if you've heard that before, unfortunately, in recent weeks. He's just not clicking. It is Lucho who has the goal.
Yeah, 3rd minute, but still haven't really had a good look since then.
Smith under pressure there from Kamungo, puts it out for a Dallas throw here in the attacking third. Wondering if Dallas made some kind of adjustment, because Nsabeling started on the left of the diamond and now he's playing more on the far side. Here's a combination through the middle. Acosta got 1-1-2 off with Nsabeling, but the second one turned over. Ball launched long and retrieved by Collodi. Now Norris, diagonal, looking for Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore wins the header, nodded across the edge of the 18. Farrington will give chase. It's well dealt with that time by the AV Alta right back, Pavel Volanov. Acosta cleared out there by the AV Alta goal scorer, Osvaldo Ley. Speaking of comical moments, Osvaldo Ley just sent himself flying after a little push from 5'3" Lucho Acosta. I don't think anyone's been more clearly faking a fall in my long time watching this game. I mean, he took 3 steps back before he fell.
In fairness, I thought he just stumbled. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I saw it happen, but I really thought he was just backtracking, just stumbled.
Well, I think I am at odds with head coach for AV Alta, Brian Kleiben, in his view of the situation.
Maybe you're right, because he immediately after he falls, he sort of grabs his back of his leg.
To me, it was pretty clear he could have stayed up very easily.
I don't know what Michelle is mad about, but he wants somebody in a red shirt somewhere else.
Well, here's Lucho Costa, sends it in towards Abubakar. Oh, that one just off the mark for Abubakar, who was at full stretch. And going to try and put that one back across for a goal to restore the Dallas lead.
I don't know if that was what the intent was, but I think Abubakar expected somebody else to, get a hold of that one before it got to him all the way at the back post, near the back post. But if he just believes that ball is coming to him, I think he's got a chance there.
Well, Dallas is back home this Saturday, May 10th, as they host Real Salt Lake. For tickets and more information, please visit fcdallastickets.com.
Well, Ryan, right now against a third-tier team, 36 minutes in, Dallas has one shot.
Unfortunately, the shot hit the net, but that's far from what you'd like to see.
I mean, that's not shots on target. That's shots.
Well, Kansas City showed us on the weekend you don't even need a shot to win a game.
First time in 30 years. That is something else. Didn't take a shot. The ball deflects in for an own goal off a cross from the left side. That was it as far as Kansas City's offense, and that's all they needed against the league champs.
Looking anything but league champions LA Galaxy this year. Kind of bummed that Dallas didn't get an opportunity against this version of the Galaxy. I'm sure they're going to figure it out at some point. Here's Dejoun going the other way for AV Alta. Dallas with some numbers back, but it's the Haitian. He's going to square up Lawless Abubakar on the edge of the 18-yard box on the far side. Cuts back to his right foot. Now shot from way out is way off target from Abumu Alassane.
I do question the stats I'm looking at, though, because they also have AV with only one shot. We know that there's been at least two. And three now.
Maybe the shot that ended up in the net was from so far out the system didn't
shot.
compute. It was from
that's
the
true.
AV Alta half. Shackmore back to Lawless Abubakar. 37th minute, 1-1 in the round of 32 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Just looking at something here, Ryan. Eric Quill wants to be vertical, and just then Dallas played out of the back. Siki turned, and then possession just kind of stopped.
It's turned into something here as Acosta puts it out in front of Kaique to run up the left wing. First touch past the defender. And then Kaique went down wanting a foul. Referee opted not to blow the whistle or give a yellow card for embellishment.
All right, if we're gonna call out them on the other side, I mean that was
pretty blatant
that was a pretty painful dive.
Norris. Ball ahead for Lucho Acosta. Some space for him up the left wing. Already a goal to his name tonight. Cuts back and launches the cross in off the defender. And AV Alta will play out here.
Right, it looks to me like the plan is for Nolan Norris not to really push up the left side at all. And that makes Dallas really narrow on the left side.
We've watched some training, usually once a week. And we have seen them sort of use this shape to build with three at the back. Let Shackmore be the more adventurous of the two.
And that's fine, but you still have to have somebody that peels out wide on that side. Whether it's Bernie, Logan, maybe Lucho playing a little wider. That's not really where you want Lucho Acosta, ideally.
Well, here's a chance for Norris to get further into the attack. Arguide finds him. Ball into Acosta, flicked along, looking for Kamungo. Breaks for Ramiro. Ramiro through the lines to Farrington. Nice 1-2. Here's Shackmore into the 18 along the right side. Low cross swung in and somehow evaded everybody. Made it all the way through without a touch from a Dallas player. Sliding tackle there. Ramiro wins it. And he's won a foul and a yellow card. That's gone the way of Alassane. I wasn't sure because both players went in with a ton of force in this sliding challenge, but I think Ramiro got the ball first.
Yeah, Ramiro was just a little bit earlier.
There's another decent build-up that arrived at the foot of Shackmore moments ago, Steve.
Yeah, and it was a really nice little combination there from Logan Farrington back to Lucho Acosta, so it's the old back and through, and Shackmore winds up with the ball at right center channel, whips it across. He's got two runners in there. Would have loved to have seen a third, but because he couldn't find either one of the two.
Two arms raised for Lucho. Now sends it towards the back post, looking for that same run Follows Abubakar as before. This one even further out of his reach. Well, we've been asking for more consistent patterns of play. We've at least seen that one now twice. Combination through the lines, getting Shaq Moore some space to cross. Got Dallas the first goal, nearly got them the second. And it's actually good defending from Denzel Smith, the goalkeeper, to get a punch on the ball as it was sent across. Otherwise, Kamungo was waiting.
Yeah, had Logan Farrington on the near post run, Kamungo on the back post. But they're both sort of got in the same line. You sort of want to, maybe a more experienced Kamungo there. He understands he has to peel back and not be on the same vertical line as Logan Farrington at the near post.
There's a nice scamper up the right wing from Logan Farrington. Sees two defenders, though. And eventually loses possession. Now Dejoun up the far side. Ball ahead to Alaribe, and Urigide comes across and marshals the situation well.
Yeah, bad luck there from Alaribe that it was Urigide that was on him, because Urigide read the situation and just stuffed out that fire.
Colodi, nice ball in the midfield. That's allowed Dallas to get out of the pressure. Abubakar out to Shaq Moore. Ball ahead for Ziki and Sabaling. Tried to return it to Moore. He bounces back for the South African, making his first start of the season. Now on the dribble and attacking the 18-yard box. Got past a couple, but couldn't get past the last sliding challenge.
Ziki is so good in the midfield and moving balls by pressure and evading the first challenge. But once he gets 20 yards to goal, he's just never been able to find that magic in the last third.
Oh, here's a nice ball from Farrington. Springs Kamungo. Kamungo has it taken off him by a sliding tackle there. Ball breaks for Lucho, who's won a throw on the near side. That was a nice tackle.
Farrington starting to put some passes together.
I believe that was Parajo with the sliding tackle. And good to see Farrington getting more involved in this competition. He had 2 goals last year in the early rounds. Costa holding a player that jumped over his back there and now finds a pass through the legs. Now ahead to Kaike. Kaike! Oh, his first goal for Dallas. Nice intricate passing through the lines, and the Brazilian roofs it at the near post to restore the lead.
I think it was Ziki that played a little sneaky ball through. I thought he was playing it into Logan Farrington, but Kaike ends up on the back side of it, and he makes no mistake at about 10 yards out, slightly left side.
Well, when you call off the striker inside the 18, you better score, and that's what Kaike did.
Yeah, but credit Lucho Costa for holding out the pressure there, slipping that ball into Ziki, and then he slips that really nice little pass in from close range. And I just called him out for it. I just said he hasn't done much of that. He hasn't done enough of that. He can't dribble and beat that guy at 18 or 20 yards or slip the pass in. Well, he did it that time, and he's given Dallas a 2-1 lead.
The Pitbull has arrived at Toyota Stadium. First goal for the offseason acquisition. Kaike coming from Gremio.
And I think Dallas got a little lucky there, because maybe a hint that Logan Farrington was offside, but as Logan Farrington was just a little slower to get to that ball than Kaike, I think Kaike had actually come from an onside position, so Dallas catching a little bit of a break there. That Kaike was a little bit faster to jump on that one than Logan Farrington.
Well, they got no breaks from VAR in San Diego, so if we can just get rid of VAR, can't get involved this time. As we're a couple of minutes from the halftime break, and Dallas now back in front 2-1.
Well, that's what you want to see, Ryan, in terms of getting your midfielders forward. Ramiro is a guy that's going to hold back there, but in a game like this, where Dallas is expected at least to have more of the play, you've got to get those 8s forward, and that time the 2 8s combined.
Yeah, I don't think getting them forward has been the issue so much as finding the combination. They've taken up the right spaces, but it hasn't always come off in this first half. Ramiro tried to get on the turn there, but the pass had more weight than he expected. Now Kaike puts this one over the top. Kamungo's going to give chase here. Smith out off his line, and referee does really well here, I think, just to let it play out and then bring it back for the foul. Smith came out and cleared it away. I believe.
It's going to number 30, Eduardo Blancas.
Lucho Acosta was in the firing line there. I thought maybe he talked himself into the book, but it was Blancas who committed the foul. And we're about to see how much stoppage time we'll play here in the first half.
Yeah, the foul was against Kaike as he played that ball forward for Bernie to try to run onto.
2 minutes added on here in the first half. 2 Dallas goals and 1 spectacular long-range effort from AV Alta and Osvaldo Ley. And we sit here at the 2-1 scoreline. Norris with a header. Some nice distance on it. Farrington challenging for it.
Okay, I'm officially not buying the MLS stat package anymore because they still have Alta with 1 shot, and we know they've taken at least 3.
Norris trying to keep that one in play. It's out for an AV Alta throw as we're just about halfway through the 2 minutes added on.
I think Norris, along with his left-sided defensive partner, Urguide, have been really solid today. Well, Nolan Norris solid, Urguide the usual, pretty doggone good.
And you'd love to be able to get maybe a comfortable lead and get him a rest. He's played every minute so far this season.
Yeah. Same maybe for Shaq Moore. He's played just a little bit less.
Norris, nice juggling up the left side. Now puts it in behind for Farrington. Farrington towards the corner flag. Back to Lucho Acosta. Acosta head up, chops past 1 defender. Now on the dribble, trying to force his way through there. Loses out.
We're seeing just a little bit more combining between Acosta and Farrington than we've seen before, and that's a great sign.
That's maybe why you picked them both to start here tonight. Try and continue to build that relationship. Shaq Moore into the feet of Farrington. Farrington, maybe with a better touch, could have played Kamungo in, but he'll keep possession here.
Yeah, Kamungo saw the space, saw the run, and I don't think Farrington saw it.
And that will do it for us here in the first half. 47 minutes down, and Dallas 2 goals to the 1 all-world effort from AV Alta, making it 2-1, and we'll talk about it on the halftime show as we are playing here in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and Dallas leads from AV Alta FC 2-1.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AV Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 45 minutes plus at Toyota Stadium, FC Dallas leads AV Alta FC 2-1 in the round of 32 here at the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Hello everybody, it is the FC Dallas halftime show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by Advocare, building champions together. We'll hear from our halftime crew in just a moment, Garrett Melser and Steve Davis. But first, let's get you to your halftime highlights. It started thick and fast for Dallas in the 4th minute when the captain of tonight's contest opened the scoring. It was Lucho Acosta getting his first Open Cup goal of the year. That opened the scoring in the 4th minute. That made it 1-0 Dallas here at Toyota Stadium. 12 minutes later, it was Osvaldo Ley doing his best Anderson Julio impression as he was able to lob a ball from just short of the halfway line over Michael Collodi, who just did everything he could to run back but just couldn't quite get there. It sailed gracefully into the net, and that made it 1-1 in the first half, 16 minutes for each side. And then it was in the 43rd minute, another debutant debut. It was Kaike getting a nice feed from Siki and Sabeling right there in the box. He even called off Logan Farrington to do it. That made the score 2-1 in the 43rd minute, and that is where we sit at halftime. Let's bring you tonight's halftime stats, which are brought to you by UMB Bank. Dallas leads possession 51-49. 6 shots for AV Alta, 3 of those on target. 2 total shots, 2 shots on target for Dallas, and as a note, 2 goals as well. 10 fouls for the visiting side, 9 for the home side. And despite that, you've got 2 yellow cards for FCD, 2 yellow cards for the visiting AV Alta FC. Let's bring in our halftime crew for the evening, Steve Davis and Garrett Melser. And Garrett, I'll start with you. You were actually in the stands tonight giving a kind of a new perspective on this one. Through 45 plus, what did you see here in this round of 32 game?
Yeah, down on the sideline for this one. First of all, lovely weather. Great
really
day for a Wednesday night Open Cup game. Awesome atmosphere. But I think Dallas will count themselves a little bit lucky to have the lead. I was really impressed with Alta's overall play. You know, they're not being overawed by the occasion. They pulled off a cup set in the last round, and they came to play. I thought they won the physical battle in a lot of ways, and the ref is certainly letting them play both sides. I thought he called a good game, but he's letting them play physical. And it's just those moments of quality from FC Dallas, the individual quality in a lot of ways that gave them the lead. But a good first 45 from a viewing perspective, I should say.
And Steve Davis, they kind of did the Wendy's method here, the good at the beginning, good at the end of the half. Which of the goals from Dallas, be it Lucho Acosta or Kaike, impressed you more in that first half?
Look, there's something to like for both of them because the first comes from a good little quick passing combination. The second one comes from a nice ball that Siki and Sabeling has slipped in. And what I really like about that one is I had just said that Siki and Sabeling is so good in moving the ball to the midfield, but he sometimes just sort of runs out of ideas, or he can't execute that last little pass, or dribble that last guy to get inside the penalty area. We've seen it, over and over. At about 25 yards, he just loses some effectiveness. So it's really great to see him in that moment. Take a ball over from the left side and then just slip in a nice little ball. I still think he was looking for Logan Farrington, but he had 2 runners there. Kaike pounced on it and roofed it from about 8 or 10 yards.
Now, the interesting part is not just the goals, which were fantastic, but it's what's going on in the middle. We saw Dallas come out very aggressive to start, Garrett. They get the goal in the 4th minute. But then we saw a little bit of regression when in that kind of middle 35, where we saw AV Alta kind of settle their way into the game, and Dallas kind of got into a little bit of their bad habits where they occupied the same spaces. They tried to force their way in the middle, but Alta was prepared for that.
Yeah, I thought Dallas got a little bit complacent. They almost scored too early in some ways, just 2 minutes in, and then they kind of rested on their laurels a little bit, maybe expected to control the game just by being a little bit more passive and passing the ball around, but Alta was just not letting them do that. They came out super aggressive. Like I said, they're winning a lot of physical duels in there. I think I saw Lawson Bubakar actually lose a header, which you don't see very often. And just overall I was impressed by how Alta just did not let FC Dallas get comfortable, and in some ways Alta controlled the middle third of that half.
And, despite that, Steve, we did see a small tactical adjustment from FC Dallas. Instead of that 4-4-2 diamond we've been seeing, they kind of played a little bit more with 3 midfielders. We saw Lucho drift wide a little bit more, but we did see kind of some mixed results when Lucho was more on the left side than in the center.
I got to tell you, Sam, you keep calling it a diamond, but it's really not, because it's really more of a 4-3-1-2 with the 1 in there with a really free roll. Lucho Acosta doesn't really stay central.
Sure.
Maybe it's supposed to be. When you draw it up, maybe that's where he starts. But he's going to go left. He's going to go mostly left. He's going to go right a little bit. He's going to stay central sometimes. But it's really a 4-3-1-2. And the only thing that really concerned me about the shape out there, and I mentioned this a couple of times, was when a couple of moments when Alta has the ball, they're at 35 yards or something like that from goal, and I look up and I see all 3 Dallas midfielders behind, or rather in front of the ball. Somebody's got to be behind the ball. So we saw that a little bit in San Diego. When you get your press beaten, you got to get on your horse. You got to get back. You got to know the moment as a team. Okay, the press hasn't worked. Now we're going to drop back into mid-block. And sometimes Dallas doesn't really recognize that moment. There's still too many times when I'm looking up and I'm seeing 4 guys walking back. That's not going to do it. So that's the problem that I would like to see corrected in terms of the team shape. In terms of how the team shape on the offense, Nolan Norris, it looks to me like he's sort of been told, or maybe he's just decided he's just not going to be that aggressive up the left side. Shaq Moore has been aggressive up the right side, so that pulls some width over there, but on the left side, they get a little narrow. That's when, as you were talking about a minute ago, that's when they sort of get congested in the middle and it becomes a little easier to defend when everything is bottled up in there.
And one player who's looking to really stake his claim to a job tonight, Garrett, is Bernard Kamungo getting his first start. He's looked good in some recent sub appearances. He's gotten now a little bit of extended run out here in this Open Cup game. What did you think about that 45-plus from Bernie as he's looking to kind of reestablish his form?
Yeah, I think he struggled to find the game in some ways, and I think that's been a problem for him throughout the last season and a half, really, ever since his breakthrough in late 23, where it just looked like he was being instinctual and making runs in behind, and he knew his role. Now that his role has kind of grown, he's expected to be more than just a finisher. I think he's still trying to find his feet a little bit and get on the ball and be comfortable and play those 1-2 passes. We know, dribbling in tight spaces is not really his skill. You really want him out in space, and Dallas hasn't really created those chances for him to shine.
I will say this. He's not the best at coming back and helping build out, but he's actually done it a couple of times and connected some passes. Not the best in the world, but he's actually done it a little bit. And in this setup, where you got two forwards, basically, 2 strikers, somebody's got to stay high and somebody's going to have to check in. So he's got to do some of that work, and he's doing it at least. There are a couple of other times when he did launch some runs, and the team's got to find him too.
And we the other forward in this formation, Logan Farrington, has been deputizing for the banged-up Petter Musa, who sprained his ankle a few weeks ago. And it feels like, and Garrett, I'll start here with you, a little bit of an off game for the big dog here because he hasn't made a huge impact like he normally does, but it's not for lack of trying. It's just almost a lack of outcome more than anything else.
Yeah, his touch wasn't as clean as it has been in previous games, but what I love is that his fight is always there. He was the one getting into those physical duels, and he's one of the only FC Dallas players who felt like he was really winning those physical duels against Alta, who's really putting the muscle in on Dallas. But look, Logan has the effort. He makes all those runs. He'll never stop running, and he'll never not chase a lost cause. So it's just one of those where he's going to keep doing it. And the 8th or 9th time he does it, he'll have a chance and probably put it in the back of the net.
And in a game where the goals are all very valuable right now, this is not a 4-0 game. Every goal is important right now. Logan Farrington was the one that took the ball back to the goal, swung it out wide into Shaq Moore. That turned into the early goal. So he's connecting some passes in there. He's never going to be the best in traffic, in close. He doesn't have the softest feet like Petter Musa does, but he has connected some passes. He has developed a little bit more chemistry with Lucho Acosta tonight. So I wouldn't say it's an A+ night, but it's at least a B right now.
Well, looking at the second half here, and one change for FC Dallas. They don't have 9 subs tonight. It's U.S. Open Cup, so they only have 7 available to them. Steve, we've seen a lot of work from Eric Quill in the second half of games where he makes adjustments, be it tactically or personnel-wise. How does that smaller bench affect not just how he works, but adjusting to this particular game?
That's a good question, and especially with Siki and Sabeling sitting on a yellow card and really working it to try to get that second yellow card. Obviously, I'm being facetious here, but he's got to be careful there, and I know that's on Eric Quill's mind as he's looking at the subs, looking at the shorter bench, and trying to figure out how long he can go with Siki, or is he in there right now having to talk with him about, if you get a yellow card, I'm putting you in a trash can, and we're not going to pick you back up until Friday morning.
Garrett, obviously, the shortened bench is another thing, but you've got Anderson Julio sitting there if you wanted to get some more speed. This game also feels like it might be calling out for a Diego Garcia appearance because while he's kind of an interesting midfielder a lot of people haven't seen, he feels like he'd fit the profile, especially if you had to bring off Siki in defense of a yellow card.
Exactly. Once Steve said that Siki's on a yellow, reminded me that I thought, look, Diego Garcia is the perfect 8-10 hybrid, kind of a like-for-like player. He runs all day. He always puts the effort in. Now, this would be a huge test in terms of the physicality. He's only 18 years old. He doesn't have his man muscles yet. He'll run all day, but he's a skinny guy. He could get pushed around in there, but it would be a great personal battle for him and a great way to test him, to give him his FC Dallas debut. I would love to see it.
Especially considering no Romero on Saturday to do his yellow card suspension. So you're going to have to elevate the midfield somehow, and having a ready Diego Garcia may not be the worst idea in the world. Well, Dallas leads 2-1 over AV Alta FC here at halftime at Toyota Stadium in the U.S. Open round of 32. We will take a break when we come back. Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action from Toyota Stadium. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, enjoy 36 holes of championship golf, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi everyone, it's Paxton Palmacall, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome you back into Toyota Stadium, just seconds away from second half action in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup round of 32. Dallas in front, 2-1 over AV Alta FC. Some scores starting to come in from around the country. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC have the first cup set of the round. They knock off New York City FC with a 96th minute winner. And there's a couple other ones of intrigue. Austin currently trailing 1-0 at home against El Paso Locomotive. And two other cup sets on watch. Philadelphia tied 1-1 with the Indy 11. And Rhode Island hosting the New England Revolution tonight, also tied up at 1-1. A couple MLS teams making some light work of their USL opponents. That's Orlando 4-0 up at Tampa Bay, and Chicago 2-0 up at half against Detroit City FC. But Steve, we said the cup comes for blood, and New York City the first to fall from the MLS ranks.
Yeah, the Riverhounds, they're one of the teams that have made some noise in this tournament before. They've got a great little stadium up there, and it's not feeling like a great little stadium if you're NYCFC right now. Poppy knows how to get it done in Orlando, doesn't he? He's always good in this tournament, as he was in 16 when he won it for FC Dallas.
Looks like we have our first change, a halftime sub. Shaq Moore coming off, replaced by Show. And that may be a tactical change. It may just be Ramiro shifting out to right back. As we get a look at the statistics flashed up by the Paramount Plus broadcast, Dallas with 2 shots on target to 6 shots, 3 on target for the visitors. The lead with the home side.
This is something to watch over here because DeJune's over here on the left side against Ramiro. That's a real speed advantage for the visitors.
Looks like Show will be tasked with helping him out as the right-sided midfielder in the diamond. That's the one Dallas change. We didn't see any alterations for AV Alta.
So the other change that Dallas will make, of course, Kaike will, excuse me if you just said this, but Kaike will sit in that Ramiro role, and it'll still be Show and Siki as the advanced midfielders.
Brian Kleiben opting to stick with the same 11. And acquitted themselves pretty well in the first half. Here's Farrington, ball into the feet of Kamungo for Acosta. First time pass just off the mark. Possession turned over. Abubakar wins it back for Dallas, who will now be attacking towards the supporters in the Hall of Fame end. Show finds Lucho. Lucho looking for Kamungo. Defended there by Alassane.
That wasn't a good pass from Lucho Acosta, but again, I'd like to see Bernie just go ahead and find a little space there, make a run. Don't look for Lucho to play to your feet.
Abubakar, nice work there covering the right side, and then another foul committed by Alassane, this time against Show.
Alassane sitting on a yellow card.
It's a little bit of a reckless one.
He's getting that talking to.
U20 international for Benin. Might have just got the last warning from Sergei Demianchuk, referee tonight. Dallas have Lucho Acosta at the controls here. They've sent the targets up from the back to try and attack this one. Dallas waits on the edge of the 18-yard box. Lucho bending it in, header across the edge of the box towards Nsabaling, and he volleys well high there.
I got to say, Lucho Acosta's free kicks in the attacking half have not been A+ tonight.
AV Alta going short from the goal kick here, and then lifting it long down the line. Kaike currently has the go-ahead goal there to retrieve. We'll be playing a different role here in this second half with Ramiro shifting out to right back.
You know, part of this might be, obviously Eric Quill's first priority is win this game, but I believe this is what we're going to see from Kaike at Saturday as Dallas gets back into league play. As Ramiro is suspended, Kaike is going to have to play in that 6th spot.
And hopefully it's just a sort of rest for Shaq Moore, nothing worse than that, because there's no one behind Shaq Moore, and that's why Ramiro's the one to take his place at right back.
Now, we have talked about how he's played a lot of minutes out there, Shaq, just like Urigide.
Show over to Urigide. Norris ahead for Acosta. 1-2 with Farrington. That's some space for Lucho Acosta. Ball in behind for the run of Kamungo. And just off the mark, Kamungo was making the right run there, but it's through to Denzel Smith.
Not bad, though. Kamungo does exactly what I'm asking there. Make the run. Lucho almost found him.
Sliding tackle from Kaike. Got enough of the ball there for the referee's liking. Restores possession for Dallas. Ball ahead to Acosta. Just a heavy first touch from Acosta, turns it over. And Ramiro was making the overlapping run. Now he's got to retreat as Dejun's on it. Dejun cutting inside, now out wide for Sebastian Cruz.
Second heavy touch and a possession loss for Acosta in the half.
Well, here's another shot from way out. Collodi going to watch this one over the bar, and it was that man again, Osvaldo Ley. That's a heat check, I guess, when you score from your own half.
That shot came from 35 yards at least, and it just almost dropped in behind Collodi.
I wouldn't disrespect it by calling it speculative. It was a real effort at goal.
Thing was moving.
The lone goal, if you're just joining us, for AV Alta, a volleyed effort from 10 yards into the defensive half from Osvaldo Ley that bounced over sprawling Michael Collodi.
So he was a little off center. This field is 116 yards, so that ball is coming at about somewhere between 65 and 70 yards.
A goal of his life for the Panamanian midfielder. Will it lead to anything more for AV Alta tonight, who trail 2-1 at Toyota Stadium? This ball down the line from Norris finds Nsabaling. Nsabaling stayed down. Don't think the ref's called a foul here, but he's stopped it to go check on Siki Nsabaling.
Siki Nsabaling hasn't been the most durable player in his time with FC Dallas. Been pretty good this year, but he hasn't played that much.
Yeah, he missed one game with a slight injury, but he's been a regular off the bench. 9 appearances coming into tonight, totaling 180 minutes. Well, don't miss the FC Dallas Rewind on KDFI More 27 every Tuesday night during the regular season at 7 p.m. You can catch a replay of FC Dallas' most recent MLS match for free on KDFI More 27. It's free over-the-air channel. It's available everywhere in the DFW market. And if you missed Tuesday, I don't blame you. Hopefully next week will be something more entertaining for Dallas fans on the Rewind.
You can watch the first 15 minutes.
It wasn't bad. It was a decent start. And from there, if you're a fan of Chucky Lozano, you would enjoy it a lot more than a fan of FC Dallas. Ramiro there defending against Dejun.
I was just about to say nice job on the 1v1 defending there from Ramiro.
Pace is certainly nice to have in the wide areas and as a fullback, but it's not a requirement. If you're smart enough, you can sort of get around those foot race moments. Denzel Smith going to challenge Ramiro in the air here, and he wins the header. Down the line for Farrington. Farrington gets his head up, now checks back. Doesn't really see an option anywhere, and has to go in the dribble pass too. He's at least won a throw.
Well, when you say he didn't really see an option, it's because there wasn't really one, because nobody was really moving in that moment.
It's maybe more of a topic of conversation for the FC Dallas Agenda podcast, where we talk more in depth about some of these things, as Ka'ike is dumped to the turf. Hard tackle there by Alaribe, who's going to go into the book. I just feel like in this shape, in the diamond, there's certain spots on the field where Dallas just gets really stuck. And it's a lot of times it's up in the wide channels, whether it's the fullbacks or anybody popping wide. There's just not avenues to connect and combine. Now, when it's clicked, 4 times, 5 times in that first half, we saw it work really well. But just a few too many times where it just gets stuck in the build.
Well, part of the issue there, and you're absolutely right, part of the issue there is it's Farrington that's getting stuck there. Well, if it's somebody else that's a natural a winger or the outside back that's moved up, then maybe the central striker can move over and offer an outlet. But in that case, he is a central striker, somehow getting stuck out on the wing.
I think these things will improve over time, but I am looking forward to the instant improvement when we see Petter Musa back on the field. Yeah. Paxton Pomykal potentially too.
Maybe soon. Both those guys in training.
AV Alta readying their first change here in the 54th minute. Dallas have another free kick. Lucho Acosta standing over it, goes short, finds Nsabelang, and Nsabelang tries to put it in behind for Kamungo. Something coordinated there at the pass off the mark.
They're getting closer and closer to finding Bernie on those runs.
Kamungo getting some instruction from Michel on how he wanted to make that run differently.
I think he just wanted him to start it out a little wider, give himself a little more room, and as he tilts inside the defender.
Now first change for AV Alta. Jimmy Villalobos, 29-year-old local talent for AV Alta out of Coachella Valley, on to replace Alassane, who've been involved in a couple of heavy tackles here in these opening 9 minutes of the second half. Ball in the midfield picked off by Ka'ike. Back to Ramiro, all the way back to Kalodi.
Bernie Kamungo really helping out there with the heavy press.
Kalodi, ball into the feet of Farrington. Farrington not clean with his touch, gave it away. Pelivanov gets it back for AV Alta. Now Ka'ike whistled for a foul in the central area.
Ka'ike really aggressive in his tackling, and he's young, and he's got the fire and desire to go get the ball, and I get it, but as at 6, he just has to be a little bit more judicious with how he's tackling, where he's tackling. Sometimes he just has to understand, just to get the right position, get guys turned and going the other way. He's already done the job. He doesn't have to always win the ball there.
This will be a free kick opportunity from 30 yards, 35 yards out centrally for AV Alta. Dejoun and Blancas standing over it. 2 players in the Dallas wall. Dejoun lifts it in. Header won there by Farrington. Norris chasing down the loose ball. Last touch was out off of AV Alta.
I don't know about you, Ryan, but are you kind of wondering why Osvaldo Ley isn't hitting that one?
I mean, with the range he's shown tonight,
right?
That was right in his wheelhouse. Lucho, first time ball down the line. Cleared out for a throw. Ramiro will take. Versatility, one of the assets of Ramiro. That was what was touted when he was coming in as a free agent signing in the offseason. This is our first chance to really see him in a different role than central midfield, but we'll get back to that. Here's Kamungo. Nice work to get past his defender. Kamungo now edge of the 18-yard box, goes down with a push from behind, and the referee waves it away.
It was contact from behind. I don't know if it was quite enough there to send Bernie sprawling. Damianchuk, the referee, was in a pretty good position to make that call.
And even in the intervening years since Kamungo's had a goal, that was all the way back to 2023 in Decision Day, he has done some decent work in winning penalties on a couple of occasions. Didn't get the call there. He did really well to get past the first defender. And then that defender on the recovery was Pelivanov. And here's Kamungo trying to break in behind once again, but too much on it. It's going to roll through for Denzel Smith.
Again, he's close, though. He's close.
Dallas going to call over their second change of the match, and it's Pedrinho who's getting his jersey on. 58th minute, the one change at the halftime break. Shaq Moore replaced by Show.
Every time you see a sub getting ready around the 60th minute, you wonder if it was predetermined.
Nice work from Kamungo, keeps this one alive. Now Lucho Acosta on it in the middle. Skips past two, rolls it ahead for Show. Show leaves it for Farrington. Edge of the 18-yard box. Farrington shot through traffic, blocked. And this one's spinning out. Will it be a corner or a throw? Ramiro watches it over the line. It'll be a throw. And Kamungo really put his body on the line there. A little bit shaken up, but back to his feet.
I mean, it hasn't happened for him tonight, but he's definitely putting in the work, Bernie Kamungo.
Throwing into Farrington. Farrington just wrestled to the ground, and the referee's going to call a foul, give Dallas a free kick. Maybe wish he would have taken a look up and checked for an advantage because Kamungo had it in the box, but it'll be a dangerous set piece.
Logan Farrington doing Logan Farrington things there, winning fouls. This one's going to come about 7 yards off the end line, just outside the penalty area on the right side.
And there's a conversation ongoing right now. Sazi Urguide and Lucho Acosta. Urguide's first FC Dallas goal came on service from Acosta in a wide free kick, just like this in Miami. And we'll see what they have in mind here. Abubakar's been the target tonight as well. Kamungo there to offer the left-footed option, but I think we all know this one's going to be number 10.
Nolan North's going to try to run a little screen for Urguide here, I think.
Referee sets the two-man wall for AV Alta. And the low ball in, looking for Show, and now Dallas going to be the beneficiary of the referee allowing a retake. They tried to run something off the training ground, and AV Alta was alert to it and cut off the low ball that was dragged back across the edge of the 18. Now they'll get a chance to probably just put it in the box.
No, that's the same thing we talked about a while ago, but this
At
time
least
it works.
he's even.
Yes, it works for FC Dallas's benefit.
At least it's a fair outcome.
I don't think you run it back here, though, do you?
I mean, it'd be a double bluff if they did. Still Kamungo and Acosta over it. Acosta does put this one in towards the back post and defended behind for a corner by AV Alta.
Yeah, he's looking for Farrington on the back post, but just didn't quite find the angle.
Acosta will make his way over to go and take it. I wonder if he's the one set to be replaced by Pedrinho.
You would sort of suspect as much.
60th minute. First he'll take this corner. Dallas targets make their run inside the 18. That one swung towards the near post, but not enough on it. Easily dealt with there by AV Alta. Collodi trying to return it to Lucho Acosta, and it's headed out before it can reach him on the far side. And now we will get Pedrinho entering the match, and it will be Lucho replaced. So Lucho Acosta with the opening goal tonight, his fourth goal for FC Dallas, and an hour's worth of work leaves with his team up 2-1.
And look who gets the captain's armband. He's been here a couple of months. Osazi Urguide.
It looks good on the right bicep of Osazi there. And Acosta, who's on a yellow card warning in MLS, has picked up a yellow card for taking too long to get off the field here. And now he's going to absolutely milk that yellow card for all it's worth as he walks off the Toyota Stadium field with a goal tonight, replaced by Pedrinho. 62nd minute, another opportunity for Pedrinho, this time off the bench.
And every time you see Pedrinho, you think he's figured it out just a little bit more in Major League Soccer. Coming from MLS Next Pro, coming from essentially the level of the team that they're playing tonight, third tier.
Ramiro, ball down the line into Pedrinho. Oh, nice flick, finds Kamungo. Kamungo now gets turned. Back to Kaique. Kaique through the lines looking for the run of Farrington, and everybody in the stadium saw that one.
It's a line-breaking pass there. Farrington just was a little late on it, or actually Kaique probably just a little bit early with the release.
It's going to be an important part of playing that deepest lying midfield role for Kaique. Can he find those forward passes? We know he's adventurous, and he's got the go-ahead goal tonight. Dallas would like to get some breathing room here. Second half, 63rd minute. All over the top. Alaribe will challenge. Abubakar wins the header, and Kaique wins the foul. Abubakar, he's just so good at winning headers. It's actually remarkable.
He's not that tall.
He's just about 6 foot. I mean, the hairstyle can be deceiving, particularly with him. If you include that, he's 6'7". Colodi diagonal, that one left short of Farrington. And Dejeune's on it for AV Alta. Dejeune driving centrally. Quick 1-2 with Alaribe, sliding in Abubakar. And maybe that's not the strength of Wallace Abubakar. A needless foul given away here on the edge of the area.
The only thing you can say is he was safely a step and a half outside of the 18.
This will be another one in shooting range for the visitors.
This was a problem a couple of years ago for FC Dallas when you just wondered if they could just be a little bit smarter about where they fouled and how much they're fouling in dangerous spots. And this is it's about the fourth free kick opportunity Alta's had inside the attacking third, and the second really good shooting position.
And I'll tell you, if I was going to draw up how a team might spring a cup set, a free kick or a corner kick goal would certainly be in the script.
Right now, luckily, thanks to Kaique's goal, it would only be a leveler, not a go-ahead.
Looks like it's Eduardo Blanquez who's got his eyes on this one. He's got a couple of goals on the season for AV Alta. One of 3 players standing around the ball here. It'll be the left-footed effort. Michael Colodi, nice save. I think that was Walmer Martinez. Got the shot away towards the near post, and Colodi puts it behind for a corner. If we could do maybe no more of those, that would be good. Thanks, guys.
Colodi's second really good save of the night. First one on that near post, ball on the ground.
Corner kick swung in, header away by Farrington, who then just got cleared out, and that's a dangerous play. And I hope Logan's okay. Got undercut as he was up in the air.
I mean, undercut in a crazy way too, and somebody else is hurt down over there in the big crush. It's an FC Dallas man.
Looking around at who we don't see.
I think it's Siki.
Sabeling, yeah. Trainers out onto the field to tend to Siki.
I don't know if couldn't catch a number there, but it was Siki getting tangled up with the Alta player, and as they both sort of fell in toward Logan. Logan probably.
It was Parajo for AV Alta. Well, Toyota Stadium is getting a makeover, from a brand new roof that will cover every seat in the building to gorgeous new club spaces and a variety of new suites. Toyota Stadium is set to become one of the finest venues in MLS. To learn more, visit newtoyotastadium.com. And Steve, seems like every time we're here for a game, there's some more progress in the demolition on the far side where we're watching on.
You can see a lot of trees over on the other side. that I wasn't even sure were there before.
Very little left standing of the buildings on the far side. The flagpole's still up for now, although not flying any colors at the moment. And Sabling helped off, and he is up and walking. We'll see if he does try and continue. It was a real crunching motion between the Alta player and Logan Farrington. Long ball looking for Farrington from Collodi. Header won by Uragide, wearing the captain's armband with Lucho off the field here.
Collodi just launched that ball about 80 yards in the air.
I mean, he makes some of these things look ordinary, but his range of passing is certainly remarkable, as Farrington's won another free kick. And it was Miguel Parajo, those two tangling again, the Colombian committing the foul.
I mean, Farrington's got a secondary assist, otherwise not top-end production tonight from, and when I say top-end, not a goal or an assist from Farrington or Bernie Kamungo, but both of them absolutely putting in the work.
So now with Lucho off the field, it's going to be Pedrinho. Send this one in. Dallas players wait along the edge of the 18-yard box. Bending in towards Uragide. Diving header from Parajo to clear. Show lifts the second ball into the box. Kamungo, edge of the 18. Whistles go there for a handball against Kamungo.
You wonder if as that ball comes back across diagonally into Kamungo, if he wouldn't have been better just to put it onto the inside of his foot and volley it right back straight across the face of goal. Instead, he tried to control it and bounced up and hit him in the hand.
Boubacar there winning the header against Alaribe. But it breaks for Cruz, and now Dejoun sprung into some space here. He's going to size up Ramiro. Dropped it off for Martinez, and Kamungo back doing the defensive work. Recovered possession and won a foul.
Right now, Dallas defending the third-tier team pretty well. They just have to not give up opportunities on set pieces.
Maybe find that third goal to put things to bed. Pedrinho with eyes on that. He's going to slip past one defender, drop of the shoulder. Ball towards Siki and Sablang, off the mark, intercepted by Martinez. Now Pedrinho himself will go pressing.
Yeah, Logan Farrington first on the counter press, and then Pedrinho to keep AV Alta from breaking out.
Credit to Walmer Martinez, who kept it under pressure from a large majority of the Dallas team there.
But that's better stuff there from FC Dallas. And the minute the counter press is broken, then they get guys back, get them into defensive positions.
Haven't seen much of Jerry Dejoun. He's won a free kick here from Nsabling, who tried to shield him off the run. Going for a 1-2.
And I think that might be enough. Eric Quill off the bench looking down toward the substitutes warming up, because I just don't know how many more fouls Siki and Sabling has in him, carrying that yellow card.
He's made 2 changes. The benches are shorter for Open Cup than for MLS. Usually have 9 players available, 7 tonight. He's got 2 windows and 3 subs remaining. Martinez going to send this ball in all the way through, allowed to bounce, and still not cleared. A shot through traffic. Bounces out to the near side for Dejoun. Just outside the 18-yard box on the near side, onto his right foot, rolled across the edge of the box, and getting under that one, Cruz with a pretty uncontested shot there from inside the D. We couldn't keep it under the crossbar.
And what did we just talk about? FC Dallas is defending well. They're just giving up these opportunities on the dead ball, and that time the free kick coming in. You know, it's at a relatively safe distance all along the left side, about 35 yards out, but Dallas not really dealing with it very well, letting it drop in there and creating a half chance for the visitors.
Talking about that potential change for Nsabling, it looks like it will be Diego Garcia. First Dallas looking for the third goal. Running behind from Show. He's got runners in the area, rolled across for Bernie Kamungo. Oh, Kamungo scores! Beautiful counterattack, and Kamungo finds the back of the net once again.
And everybody, look at him. We all love the Bernard Kamungo story. So do the players. They're all down there right inside the AV Alta goal, congratulating young Bernard Kamungo, who I feel like we see this a lot. After he scores, he got completely wiped out. Got hurt a couple of years ago doing that. But that was a really nice counterattack. Dallas getting numbers forward. We talked about Bernard Kamungo all night, putting in the work with the runs. And if you just keep working, you just keep making the runs, eventually you'll get your chance. He got it. He put it away from close range, 3-1.
Bernie Kamungo's first goal since decision day of 2023. Bernie is back on the score sheet, and it gives Dallas a 2-goal advantage tonight in Open Cup play. And I think that was the fastest I've ever seen Show move. It was a great run in behind from him, and in his sort of midfield role, you rarely see him get up to full speed, but impressive work from the Angolan.
Well, he had Pedrinho and Show making essentially the same run and both going for the same ball, and he had to put on the afterburners if he was going to get beat Pedrinho to the ball.
They were the two in the foot race for the ball with no AV Alta defender in sight. Here's DeJean looking for a response, sliding tackle from Nsabalang, and he got a foot on the ball. It bounces through to Kalodi, and Eric Quill is making sure Diego Garcia is ready to go because Nsabalang hasn't quite been as judicious as you'd like with his challenges since picking up that early yellow.
I think if the player goes down there instead of doing the athletic thing and doing the right thing and jumping over him, Nsabalang's probably off, and Dallas playing a man down.
Kalodi, nice ball out to Ramiro. Down the line for Bernie Kamungo. Some pressure in his back, gives it away.
I don't know if I want to see Ramiro right back in a league match because he just doesn't have a lot of speed to play outside back. But he hasn't done anything wrong tonight out there, has he?
Certain wingers that you really wouldn't want to see that matchup, but in a certain game, I think it could work. Particularly when we see San Diego again, I don't want to see it.
Chucky Lozano out there running against him, no.
74th minute, Dallas in front 3-1, and we're about to see a debut on the Dallas side when the ball goes out of play. Uriguide defending right now out on the far side, wearing the captain's armband for the first time. Ball goes through his legs. He manages to shield it away just enough for it to get to Nolan Norris. And now Pedrinho getting on the turn and winning a foul. Well, we've seen some famous debuts for FC Dallas in the Open Cup, including Ricardo Pepi at the age of 16 back in 2019. And another El Paso native now enters the match, and that is Diego Garcia, replacing Siki and Nsabalang.
Now Siki making a mark on this game, doing some good work in the midfield. He's never going to be as strong defensively as on the attack. Kaike doing more of the defensive work at the similar position, but Siki making a big mark in the game with the ball as he slips that pass through to Kaike for the second FC Dallas goal tonight, the one that sort of let them control the second half and control it enough to get that third goal, but not over yet.
Two changes for AV Alta. We'll get those in just a moment as well. Diego Garcia, 18 years old, originally from El Paso, Texas. He is the youngest player to reach 50 appearances for North Texas. And he is, of course, an MLS Next Pro champion with Dallas's second team.
He was such a big part of that NTSC run last year to the MLS Next Pro title.
His former team, the academy which he came up playing for, El Paso Locomotive, by the way, leading 2-0 at Austin FC tonight in the Open Cup. Oh, there's a tough tackle in on Kamungo, and the whistle and the yellow card out of the pocket for the substitute Jimmy Villalobos.
Villalobos protesting there, but that's a tough challenge. Lunging in, you leave both feet like that. It's definitely a yellow card. He's lucky that if he gets just a little bit more Kamungo, that's a straight red.
I'll tell you who needs an ice bath. Actually, a couple players on the Dallas side after tonight, and that's Nsabalang and Kamungo. Oh, he's almost lucky that Kamungo reacted as quick as he did. Otherwise, it would have been cleats into knee. Instead, it was knee to knee. Still doesn't sound too nice. Garcia, first touch there, trying to find Ramiro. That one just out of play. I think I'll bet on better moments than that for Diego Garcia in his FC Dallas career.
He just didn't quite find the angle on the pass.
Working with Pedrinho, those two key parts for the North Texas title run a year ago. Pedrinho goes down, no whistle. Ball spins out of play, last touch off Ramiro.
Diego Garcia right now looking a little bit like Kaique did in his first appearance. Just a pretty eager pup right now.
You got to get that out of the way, don't you? This is a good time for it.
It is.
Now with the 2-goal lead against lower division opposition here in the round of 32. Looks like Adam Aumich is one of the substitutes for AV Alta, and I believe Javier Mariano as well. AV Alta driving it up the far side. Norris unable to win it back there. Ball's going to stay in play.
KK got caught a little out of position that time. Got caught a little high up the field, allowing Alta to get in, but nothing came of that first thrust of this attack.
I believe it's Mariano, the substitute, now at right back. And the other substitute, Aumich, as the left winger for AV Alta. Dejun switching ball, some space on the far side. And another cross swung in, header won by Abubakar, intended for Alaribe. After the final whistle tonight, we'll have the post-game show, but we'll also have the FC Dallas Agenda podcast later this week. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Myself, Steve, and Garrett will try and catch an interview with one of the stars of tonight's win, and we'll try and avoid talking about the 5-0 loss at San Diego for as long as possible. And we drop that usually on Wednesdays. With the 2-game week this week, it'll be a little bit later, and it will arrive on your podcast feed here in the coming days, and we would appreciate your listenership. Farrington, 4 defenders around him. Ramiro trying to provide some support. Now Kaique goes sliding in. Dallas players just getting bodies in the way there, and then Kaique finally wiped out by Dejun. Somewhere amongst there, a good touch from Garcia.
One of the things I'll draw your attention to here is, I said a minute ago, Sabeling's never going to be known for his defensive work, but one of the things he is good at is moving the ball to the midfield, and I think as we close out the last 12 minutes here, 12 or 13 minutes plus stoppage time, Dallas is having a little bit more of an issue now moving the ball back to front without Sabeling.
Kaique is going to spread it out to the near side. Ramiro picks his head up, finds the feet of Farrington, return to Ramiro, back to Kaique. Pedrinho, who's one of those players that could help progress the ball, dropping in a little bit deeper there. Now Kaique, time and space in the center circle. Tried to swing it out wide left for Garcia. Those two not on the same page, but Norris with a sliding tackle. Breaks kindly for Aumich and AV Alta, who can now run at the Dallas back line. Kaique goes in with the tackle and another free kick in a shooting position.
Dallas has to be smart here, Ryan. Ramiro was caught way up the field. He's got to understand there's 10 minutes, they're 2 goals up. I know he's maybe excited to get a chance to move up the field a little further, but I mean, my heavens, he was way up the field, and that left Dallas exposed. And now one more time, Dallas is giving Alta a dead ball in a dangerous position.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad Michel wasn't suiting up for AV Alta tonight or a free kick taker like that, because he would have had prime opportunities.
They got close in the last one. Took a darn good save from Collodi. Keep him out of the net.
A similar spot here, and it's Wilmer Martinez who took that one, offering the left-footed option, Eduardo Blancas the right-footed option. 4 players in the Dallas wall. It's going to be Blancas into the Dallas wall. He leapt a couple extra inches up in the air and made the block.
I think that wall was set at about 8.5 or 9 yards too, and that helped.
Trying to keep it in play on the far side, but unable to do so. It's going to be a goal kick. Dallas not punished for some of these fouls in and around the edge of the box. Someone like a Diego Luna, who's coming to town on Saturday, might make for a different story.
I see keys to the match coming up.
Nobody sniffs out a keys to the match talking point like our very own Steve Davis.
We got a laugh from Sam Hale over there. It's going to be Garrett Meltzer's job on Saturday, I believe.
Wow, handing off the keys, pun intended. Boubacar gets possession back for Dallas. Kayike turning in midfield.
Nice little spin from Kayike to keep possession.
He got the second Dallas goal after Acosta opened the scoring in the 3rd minute.
Standing as the game winner right now.
A loose touch from Shaw as they try and progress up the left side, but Farrington's onto it. Farrington finds Garcia centrally, out to Pedrinho. Run comes on the overlap from Ramiro. Ball in behind for Farrington. Farrington now inside the 18, cuts back past 1. But Walmer Martinez there defensively made sure 3 didn't turn to 4 there.
I mean, twice in that possession, though, Farrington could have played Bernie Kamungo in on a run and just kept the ball.
Saw Eric Quill really passionately waving his team back there. We talked about that before the game. We want to see more of that, those recovery runs, that will to get back defensively. I saw Ramiro at absolute full tilt, and now he's back defensively and just able to marshal that one out of play. Some good work against the lesser experienced Adam Almich.
No, I think I agree with Almich over there that maybe that was a foul on Ramiro. I don't think the ball was in playing distance as he blocked off the run.
We can dive deeper into what has already been a very dramatic round of 32 in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. You can join the conversation on X, Instagram, and Facebook at Open Cup. Dallas, as it stands, progressing into the round of 16 where they will face the New York Red Bulls, who advanced past Colorado Springs Switchbacks last night. It'll be a trip to Harrison, New Jersey. And it comes pretty quick, May 21st. Just a couple of weeks from now.
Not necessarily a beautiful city, but a really nice stadium up there.
Kamungo with the latest Dallas goal. On it here in the attacking third towards the corner flag. And that pass deflects out of play. Ramiro will be able to take a throw once he finds this spare ball to use. Pedrinho juggling in the corner. And the referee's going to bring a stop to the play here as there was an AV Alta man down, motioning to his head, suspecting a head injury. But he spoiled the show. Pedrinho was juggling for the fans in the corner.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, Pedrinho took a shoulder in the chest for that, and that's what he's going to get if he's, goofing around like that sometimes.
He's got an audience, and we know he's a showman.
I just don't want him to see him. I don't want to see him get his leg broke because he's doing that, is all.
Valid point. And it was contact off the ball. Martinez caught by Farrington, who was making his run through.
Dallas will get the ball back here.
They could have stood to just get a free kick for the contact against Pedrinho. No such thing as a contested drop ball anymore. Referee waves the AV Alta player away. It's going to be dropped at the feet of Ramiro, who's going to immediately be under pressure from Almich.
Well, Ramiro's got to understand he just turns it back and instead of facing that pressure.
He's won a corner.
86th minute, plus a little stoppage time. Is it time to keep the ball in the corner?
Nah, let's send it in. Let's look for more. Let's look for 4. There's targets to aim at for Pedrinho. Referee not in one accord with the assistant referee on the near side. He was hurrying up Pedrinho to take it, and then the referee stopped it for something he saw in the middle. Kamungo and Pedrinho. It will be Pedrinho. And the referee spotting the same thing he saw before and immediately pointing for a free kick against Dallas. 2 more changes coming for AV Alta. Alexis Cerritos.
And one coming for FC Dallas, Tarek Scott.
Cerritos and Rebeldo on for AV Alta. And the final change of the night will be Tarek Scott for FC Dallas. We'll see if he can make it in time for this window. Doesn't look like it.
If that name sounds familiar, Ronald Alexis Cerritos. He's the son of the San Jose Earthquakes star of another day. Ronald Cerritos, MLS Best 11, MLS Cup winner. 70-plus goals around MLS in his time.
I'll tell you, Alexis Cerritos, for coming off a bench for USL League One side, he's got 2 caps for El Salvador.
Yeah, just like his father. His father was a longtime Salvadoran international.
Kaique there just closing off the passing lane, makes the interception, drops it all the way back for Michael Collodi. Goes long, Kamungo shoulders off one defender and then forces the ball to go out of play for a Dallas throw as Kamungo is now replaced by Tarek Scott, but Bernie Kamungo got back on the score sheet tonight, and that is huge for Dallas going forward, just to see him backfilled with the confidence that a goal can bring. Nice handshake with Eric Quill.
I got a little laugh there. Miguel Pajaro, the defender, he's got his hand up there calling for Bernie Kamungo to be outside. Bernie Kamungo was onside by about 4 yards.
Tarek Scott straight into the action, is shielding in the corner with 2 defenders around him. Going to try and win a corner, but instead does well to find Show. Now Pedrinho on the turn. Bounces back out to Show, edge of the 18. DeJean back defending for AV Alta. And sent down the field where Ramiro keeps it in play. Garcia can't find a teammate. And now he'll go and chase back defensively. Kaique goes sliding in. Evaded that time by Mariano. Spreads it out to another substitute in Almich. Almich out of Marshall University. Couldn't find a teammate that time.
Garcia's a bundle of energy out there. He's never going to be the one not making the recovery run defensively.
Even last year, before he was officially signed to the first team, he was in first team preseason, and he was the winner of the beep test. Cardio fitness test. Usually kicks off preseason activities.
Players love that test, don't they?
I think I still sometimes wake up, sweats in the middle of the night with the beep sound. But certainly if you're Diego Garcia and the cardio capacity he's got, it's light work almost.
If you don't know what that is, the health and fitness crowd calls that the intermittent interval test.
Pedrinho's having fun out there. Nice touch off the chest, now finds Show, drop of the shoulder and a turn in midfield.
I think they're all having fun right now.
You know, we've got a lot of Brazilian flair out there. Can cook up some Jogo Bonito. And Pedrinho with just that. Nice flick around the corner. Pedrinho to Tarek Scott, who brings up the right side. Tarek Scott low ball in, looking for Pedrinho. And defended at the near post by Master Antonio.
Barrington and Pedrinho making far near post runs there. Tarek Scott with a good ball whipped in. Just nice defensive work.
FC Dallas is celebrating 30 years in Major League Soccer, and the club is commemorating its most iconic moments, kits, players, and more. You can visit fcdallas.com/30 to relive the most important moments. And of course, a couple of those are Open Cup triumphs, 1997 and 2016.
2016, that signature season under Oscar Pareja. Won Supporters Shield that year as well.
And could have and maybe should have been a treble for that team if Diaz hadn't ended his season early with an injury.
Yeah, injury to Seattle to make things a little worse for Dallas fans. So another free kick. It's the one thing that, assuming this game plays out with FC Dallas ahead, that's the one thing that you're really going to want to work on for FC Dallas. They just can't keep giving up this many dead ball opportunities in good attacking spots like this.
We have 3 minutes added on. We've already played one. And the referee's taken some serious attention to the tussling going on in the 18-yard box like he did at the other end moments ago. This one swung in over everybody's head. And Show barged off the ball in the corner and concedes a corner because of it. I think he's only just come to terms with what happened as DeJeune's come across to take it for AV Alta. For a USL League One side in their inaugural season, gave a really good account of themselves tonight. And by far the biggest stage for most of these players. DeJeune sends it in towards the back post. Header won by Farrington. Done a lot of that work tonight, Logan Farrington. Second ball swung in towards Master Antonio. And the offside flag goes up as we've got 1 minute remaining of stoppage time.
There's Tarek Scott back there clearing that ball before the flag went up. Michael Collodi will take as much of this final minute as he can before he sends this one back in play. Didn't quite get his second clean sheet in an FC Dallas uniform, but looks like he's headed for another victory in the Dallas net. And if you haven't seen the goal Dallas conceded, it will be the one that will live on the highlight reels. Not a good night for our neighbors down south. Austin playing at home against El Paso, down 2-0.
We'll keep an eye on cup sets and talk a little bit more about that on the post-game show here in just a moment. Dallas looking like they've avoided any funny business in Frisco tonight. Given away there by Farrington. Garcia is going to have to track back. Ka'ike comes across as well. And Ka'ike, until the last minute of the game, another sliding tackle at full energy, full pelt. And some afters there between he and Adam Almich. Not really sure why. It was a pretty clean tackle.
There's a little bit of hanky-panky afterwards. Almich clearly frustrated. Tell you what, Lalas Abubakar, you like to see this because he sprinted in. He went out about a 40-yard sprint, going over there and take up for his teammate. In fact, Demianchuk, the referee, saw Abubakar, and then Lalas going to get a yellow card. But he saw Abubakar, and instead of going to the spot of the foul, he went to the spot where Abubakar was arriving to make sure Abubakar didn't do anything that he was going to regret.
We're waiting for the final whistle. That's pretty much all that's left here. And the referee does blow the final whistle. Dallas have their name in the hat for the round of 16. They've got a date with the New York Red Bulls coming up. And tonight it was a 3-1 victory over AV Alta FC. First, it was Lucho Acosta, then Ka'ike, and Kamungo capped it off in the second half. We'll talk about all that and more as Steve, Dallas moves on, and that's all that matters in these competitions, survive and advance.
Yeah, absolutely, but I don't know if it was just survive. I mean, I think it was fairly comfortable outside of giving up those dead balls and outside of an absolute worldie. That was the best thing that AV Alta had tonight, but look, that's a new team, and you know they're fresh into this thing, and they'll do good things in the future, but tonight is FC Dallas's night.
Absolutely. A good effort from the visitors. Osvaldo Ley will never forget the goal he scored tonight, but Dallas are the ones to move on. 3-1 tonight from Toyota Stadium. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we will head into the post-game show now. FC Dallas 3, AV Alta 1.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AV Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 90-plus minutes at Toyota Stadium, it's FC Dallas advancing to the next round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, the round of 16, with a 3-1 win over AV Alta FC out of USL League One. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show, brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you tonight by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in a few moments by the voices of tonight's victory. It's Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But first, let's go ahead and start with your post-game highlights. And they started early in the 4th minute of this one. It was FC Dallas's captain that started the scoring.
Sauerbrunn tries to keep it alive, and it's out of play. Last touch off the visiting AV Alta.
Really nice sequence there of FC Dallas playing out of the pressure, started by Collodi, pinging a pass in the midfield.
Acosta, nice back heel to Farrington, now spreading it out wide to Shaq Moore inside the 18. Shaq Moore across in towards Lucho, and there's the first goal 3 minutes in.
Lucho Acosta, his first goal in Open Cup play this year, came in the 4th minute. That put Dallas up 1-0. But then 12 minutes later, it was Osvaldo Ley with what will probably be one of the goals of the tournament, definitely the goal of this round, where he chips Michael Collodi, or more like rifles him from just past half line. Nothing Collodi could have done with that one and playing off a high line. A career highlight for Ley. That made it 1-1 in the 16th minute. It was that way until the 43rd minute, when right before the stroke of halftime, the Pitbull opened his account.
Costa holding a player that jumped over his back there and now finds a pass through the legs. Now ahead to Kaique. Oh, his first goal for Dallas. Nice, intricate passing through the lines, and the Brazilian roofs it at the near post to restore the lead.
Kaique's first goal in any competition in FC Dallas colors in the 43rd minute made it 2-1 Dallas. That was the score at halftime. And the score remained that way until the 72nd minute, when something that hasn't happened since 2023 occurred.
First Dallas looking for the third goal. Running behind from Show. He's got runners in the area. Rolled across with Bernie Kamungo. Oh, Kamungo scores! Beautiful counterattack, and Kamungo finds the back of the net once again.
Kamungo's first goal since Decision Day 2023, his first goal of 2025, the icing on a wonderful victory cake for FC Dallas here in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32. Let's get you tonight's postgame statistics, which are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession-wise goes the way, well, of each side, 50-50 each way. 11 shots for AV Alta, just 5 for Dallas. Despite that, 4 of those on target for the visitors, 3 for the home team. You had 20 fouls committed by the visitors, 17 by FCD. Each team came away with 2 corners. You had three saves tonight from Michael Collodi, no saves tonight for Denzel Smith. And now we bring in the voices of tonight's win. It's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis. And lads, we're going to start simple on this one. FC Dallas wins, they advance. Steve Davis, I'll start with you. How are we feeling after 3-1 FC Dallas?
You feel like this game, as FC Dallas gets into the 4th round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, that they should win the game. We talked about how there is quality in the lower tiers. This is 3rd-tier opponent tonight. But over the collective, the quality is on Dallas' side. Over the 11 or the 13, 14, 15 that are going to play in this game, you feel like this is a game that Dallas should be able to manage and that they should win fairly comfortably. It doesn't always happen that way, but it did tonight, and that's the way these things ideally should go.
Ryan Figert?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the first half I didn't feel 100% confident coming out of it, even though Dallas had the 2-1 lead. But I think in the second half, we saw some of those attacking ideas start to blossom. We saw some more connections, some more control in the game, and that's ultimately what we wanted to come away from this one with, is seeing Dallas put together a comprehensive home performance ahead of 2 more home games coming in Major League Soccer. The home games, the home form has been a struggle so far, and so to get this one under your belt, to get your name in the hat for the next round, those are checking all the important boxes.
Well, as we kind of look at what ended up spurring this game on, Dallas obviously scores in the 4th minute. That's about as good as it gets. And then they score at the end of halftime. Barty Kamungo gets his goal in the 72nd minute. And, credit to AV Alta who came to play for this one. And it's, Dallas, again, scores 3 goals, only 3 shots on target, though, and 5 shots total against a team from USL League One. With all due respect to that team, Steve, that still seems a little light for a team that played a largely first-team rotation tonight.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. What I will say is that they were 3 quality goals that Dallas scored. You can look at it 2 ways. You can talk about the lack of quality chances, and that's fair enough. Or we can talk about when Dallas did get chances, they were clinical, not only in the finish but also in the little pass that creates the goal. So they're all 3 nice goals. I mean, the first one, Logan Farrington taking the ball at about 20 yards, and he's got his back to the goal, but he understands that Shaq is running, so he finds a little passing lane. Shaq plays the good ball across. Lucho makes the good run, so that's a nice goal. The second one is Lucho holding off a heavy challenge when Lucho sort of ducks down, and he's got a guy, I think maybe it was Alisson, that was sort of literally all over his back, but he holds the ball under pressure, finds Siki. Siki slips in a nice ball to Kaike. That's a good goal with a quality finish, quality entry pass. Then the counterattack goal, Show makes the good run down the left side. He makes the right choice. Bernie Kamungo is making a good run on the back post. So, yeah, quality chances weren't abundant, but when they had them, they put them away.
Yeah, and I think something coming into this game that we wanted to see was the chemistry starting to develop in the attack. And I think the first 5 minutes when Dallas get the opening goal, obviously excellent. They had that great build-up. The rest of the first half, I didn't really see the connection between Farrington and Acosta, but in the second half, I thought they really started to find each other more, and Kamungo started to make the right runs. I think we started to see some signs of growth in those areas, and ultimately, I think that's why you chose to go. Obviously, you want to win the game, but ultimately, why he chose to go with such a strong 11, getting Lucho more minutes with these guys is going to be beneficial in the long term, and I think we started to see some of that growth in the second half.
And also, before we kind of break down the players of this match, one of the things you can notice on some of the goals is Dallas was using some of that width. They were getting to those wide edges of the 18-yard box, and you were kind of even using, especially on the third goal, you look at KK springing Show, who then sprung Kamungo, and they were using all the field there. They weren't just trying to use that funnel right there to zone 14. They were using the space well, which is something that they've been struggling with over the last couple of weeks, Ryan.
Yeah, I think that was the best moment from Show in an FC Dallas uniform so far. I mean, we haven't seen a ton of soccer. He played, 8 games last year. Was kind of a rotational piece, got a few starts under Peter Luxane. This year he's been in and out of the team. Obviously he missed all of preseason, which didn't help his cause. But as that sort of loan is expiring in a few months, they have to make a decision on if he's going to be a part of this team going forward. And I think he did well for himself tonight. He showed some top-level athleticism that I don't think I'd seen from him, that top speed to get in behind on the left side and beat his own teammate to the ball, and good service in for Kamungo. So good moment for Show on that goal for sure.
As we look at the players who stood out for this match, I think there's a few options if you want to do the traditional man of the match. I'm going to make my pitch here for Kaike, the pit bull, and I want to do it for...
I think it's a popular one because I saw him with the cowboy hat on.
All right, okay, I feel a lot better now about my choice, but I think for a couple reasons. One, he seemed a lot more... This was probably his most easy game in the sense of he didn't lunge into as many things. He didn't end up with a yellow card tonight. He seemed a lot more in control of his emotions. He gets the goal in the 43rd minute, and he played pretty well in that regard. But then in the second half, due to Shaq Moore coming out, Ramiro shifts out, he moves into that more traditional 6 role, and, he wasn't world-class by any means, but he handled the position well. So I think taking a young 19-year-old and taking him from one position to another and saying, hey, you've got to go figure that out because, spoiler alert, he's probably going to have to do it on Saturday as well. I think when you consider how he played and how he handled what he was given, Steve, it's to me, he was the man of the match on this one for FC Dallas.
Yeah, I won't fight you on that one because he did play well as the 8. I felt like for the first 30 minutes, it was Siki and Sabling as the other 8 that was having more influence on the match. But even in that time, it's Kaike that's doing some of the dirty work, some of the defensive work in there. And then he gets the goal that matters, the game-winning goal. And, the thing is, as he moved into that 6th spot, the holding midfielder role that we think he's going to have to play this Saturday in an important league game against Real Salt Lake, he looked comfortable in there. It looked like he knew what he was doing. Now, he did get caught. He's young and, he's not always going to make he's going to make a lot of aggressive decisions. And we've heard Eric Will say that he wants this team to fail aggressively, so fair enough. but he did get caught up the field a little bit high a couple of times. But that's something they can work with him on. He did look like he's very comfortable. He understands that position. He just sort of has to, understand game state and the players. The game around him is going to move a little bit faster, so he's just got to recalibrate how far up he advances. But that's things that the coaches can work on. I thought it was a really good night, both sides of the ball, offense and defense for him.
Yeah, and I'm watching right now as the FC de Brazil family reunion is happening on the Toyota Stadium pitch. We've got Pedrinho, we've got Ramiro with his whole family, Kaique still out there, Leo Chu has made his way out there, even though he missed tonight with an injury. The whole Brazilian contingent is enjoying themselves on the field right now, and as they should. I think I see Ramiro's kids out there running, and I think they're looking for a ball to play with. So, as that Brazilian contingent sort of develops, good to see the community developing around those players as well.
And if I was going to follow it up here, because I think a few players did good things tonight, man, there's maybe a sentimental vote for Bernie Kamungo. Getting the start tonight, getting a just beautiful goal for his first one since decision day. But it's not even just about the goal, it's about what he was doing. He was putting in the work, he was making the runs, he was doing, Steve, exactly what he needed to do. They were asking him, hey, go make the runs, you'll get found. It took him till the 72nd minute, but he was doing the things he needed to do, and he was rewarded with a goal.
And the thing is, even when it's not going your way, probably in life, but definitely in soccer, just keep trying, keep putting in the work, and eventually you will get your reward. And tonight, Bernie Kamungo, you're right. It was really telling as well. That I think the players recognize Bernie. The players are all cheering for Bernie, and they recognize the work as well, because every player, as Bernie Kamungo scored that goal, and then got completely wiped out as he's getting up,
as he's wont to do for some reason.
That's right. It happens a lot with him for some reason. But as he's down there on the end line, players are making 80-yard runs. Everybody is down there. You usually see a couple of guys hanging back. I think I'll save my energy, or maybe they're getting some instruction from the coach. But everybody is up there. All the substitutes around him, and it was a nice moment. You sort of understand, what he means to the team and what his story means to the team, and good for him for getting out of the starting gate on his goal scoring.
Yeah, I think that's huge, obviously. But I think I also want to point out that FC Dallas signed Bernie Kamungo to a contract extension, a 3-year deal in January of this year. I mean, the club believes in him as a player. It's not just about his story. If it was, that you'd sort of let it fizzle out, as he had such a great first season, and last year it just didn't happen for him. They put their faith in him. They believe in him. Obviously, Eric Quill does. He's the one who first found him in an open tryout. And even then, he gave him the start on the opening day of the season this year. It didn't really work out, but he's continued to give him opportunities because he has that belief, and Bernie repaid it tonight. Good to see him get off the schneid.
And let me say, you don't have to be, Christian Espinoza in this league. You don't have to be MLS Best 11 to make a mark, to have a good career. If Bernie Kamungo can give them, at this point of the career especially, 4 or 5 good league starts, start in the cup games. There'll be more games ahead. They'll end up with somewhere between 38, 40 games, something like that. Give you a few good starts, and then give you 20 good appearances off the bench. Score 4 or 5 goals, overall in all competitions. 2 or 3 of them off the bench, and that's a good season. There's nothing wrong with that. So if that's where Bernie Kamungo's career is going to take him, that's okay.
And, to close the loop on Bernie, we talked about the celebration at the end of his goal, how the whole team was basically there, and to kind of, peeled the curtain back slightly. The guy has always had a positive attitude. Anytime we see him at training, he's always incredibly excited. He has not let this streak of a bad run get him down. He always puts in the work, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why his teammates were so happy to see someone, as you said, Steve, get the reward in soccer in this rate. Speaking of guys that always work hard on the pitch, let's talk a little bit about Logan Farrington, because I think we can argue, Steve, you said at halftime, probably a B-grade game for Logan Farrington, and I think that's probably still about right. He always puts in the work. In fact, he drew probably about 5 or 6 fouls in the second half, because that's what Logan Farrington does. And on one hand, I love that FC Dallas has Logan Farrington. On the other hand, I think whenever the Moose's ankle is all patched up, I'm ready to see Pedro Musa back out there, and Logan maybe come back to that 30 to 40-minute role that he's been occupying so really well since he got here.
No, again, look, a Major League Soccer team is not 11 starters. It's it's a full roster, and then you're not going to play 28 guys, but you're going to sort of depend on a core of say 18, something like that. Logan Farrington, if he can come in and give you a bunch of good appearances off the bench, and then say a half dozen, 10 starts, something like that, that's great. What he gave Dallas tonight is exactly what he should. He makes a connection, gets that secondary assist on the first goal. He draws fouls. He occupies defenders. His work in tight spaces is never going to be perfect. It was okay tonight, so you take that and then you put it all together and you say, hey, you know what? You earned your paycheck tonight.
Yeah, just to put some numbers to that, Steve, Dallas have now debuted 11 new players this season. They've had 8 different goal scorers, and they've used 23 players so far under Eric Quill, with Diego Garcia being the 23rd, making his debut tonight. And for Logan, I think, look, his role right now and when he can be utilized best is coming on as a finisher in games, because there's no player that you want to see coming off the bench less than Logan Farrington, who's just going to put you into a battle every time the ball is near. And for him to be able to come on and play alongside Musa or spell Musa, it's a perfect role for him, and he's going to continue to get these starts when and if Musa has to miss games, and that's good for his development. But I think his role in this team is going to be first man off the bench going forward.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, if you're a defender in the league and you've been working hard for 70 minutes, you really want to look over and say, oh man, this guy! Look at him. He's about to come in, and I got to deal with the fight and the arms and the elbows and knees. The winning the header, chasing down lost cause. I got to deal with that for another 20 minutes. It's got to be a little dispiriting, and that's his job.
Yeah, playing against Logan Farrington is kind of like fighting a badger. Even when you win,
or
you
beaver.
Still lose.
How about a beaver?
Might be a beaver too. I only know about badgers. I've never seen a beaver fight before. You'll have to update me on that when we see it. A curious move that happened, and I think it was probably a good one in the long run. Right at halftime, we see Shaq Moore come off. We see Show come on. That ends up moving Ramiro to right back. And we had heard, since Ramiro got here, Ryan, hey, this guy's versatile. He can play a little bit of left back, a little bit of a right back, a little bit of midfielder. And I think we're all like, okay, that's cool, but let's play defensive midfielder first and see where it gets us. Well, tonight we got our first look at Ramiro right back. And I'm not saying I want him to replace Shaq Moore anytime soon, but more than serviceable, I would argue.
Yeah, I think decent for sure, and this obviously wasn't an MLS standard opponent tonight, and you'd hate to see him in space against a couple of of the best wingers that the league has to offer. But I think for Ramiro, he's got the ability to be versatile. He's a smart player. He can play different roles. It doesn't really, for me, solve the issue that Dallas has with depth, because now you're having to take your starting 6 out of midfield, and there's a sort of cascading effect from there. So while it could be decent enough in an emergency, I wouldn't really back it as a long-term plan, and I still have concerns with Dallas in the right back position if Shaq has to miss any time for a Gold Cup or an injury or whatever it may be.
I don't really feel like that's anything we're looking at long-term. I think this was just circumstance. Ramiro is not going to be able to play this weekend. He's going to get the weekend off because he's suspended for yellow card accumulation. Shaq Moore, along with Urguide, has played a lot of minutes this year, and I think it was just clever of Eric Quill to come up with that plan. All right, it looked like it's probably planned at halftime. Let's get Shaq half a game off. Let's use Ramiro. Let's wear his butt out. Put him over there. And also, what does it allow them to do? Kaike, who will probably play as the 6th, as the holding midfielder, he doesn't come in, having never played that position for FC Dallas as a lone holding midfielder. He gets 45 minutes of it. So I think Eric Quill was very clever there in solving 2 or 3 problems. Ramiro ends up having to put in the extra work, but he's okay with it because he knows he gets the weekend off. So I don't think that's anything we're really looking at long term. I think that was just a clever problem solve.
Yeah, I think by the time the season ends, we may have to do a part of the FC Dallas agenda where we look at the most innovative or fun things Eric Quill has done in the second half. And I think when we look back at it, that means we probably won't be on the medal stand, but it'll probably be an honorable mention to see him play right back.
I think, but that takes us to the point of I like what Eric Quill did tonight. He didn't get innovative, as you said, to start off with. We know the other day when things went wrong against San Diego, he said that, I probably outsmarted myself a little bit in trying to, go to that 3-4-3. So tonight they went back to what they've been training on the last few weeks, which is 4-3-1-2. It worked well enough tonight. Now I think we can still nitpick a little bit and say they're still not creating enough attacking opportunities out of it. Although if we see Petra Musa come back this week, I think we'll see that volume increase a little bit. That's been an issue, just that he's not in there. Logan Farrington doing the best he can, but he's not Peter Musa. So not being innovative, getting back to basics, I think, was important tonight, getting back to what was working before.
So before we close this thing down, because there are a couple other things we need to cover before we get on out of here, any final thoughts from you gentlemen on FC Dallas 3, AV Alta FC 1?
No, congratulations to Diego Garcia making his FC Dallas debut tonight. Had a few minutes off the bench. Didn't really make a huge impression either way, but that's a big step for him in his career.
He made a little bit of an impression on me, although it's not a surprise, of course, and not a surprise to anybody who's seen him play for North Texas SC, but just his energy level, his willingness to close down very quickly from 5 yards, 10 yards, to get where he needs to be, to make the recovery run. I feel like that can be a little contagious sometimes, and obviously some of the older players are going to have a little harder time doing that, but when you see that guy putting in the work that way, I feel like that can be contagious. With the ball, he had a couple of good moments, he had a couple of bad moments, but he's in there in that time to close out the game, and closing down players, closing down spaces, making sure you're in the right places defensively. All that stuff is important, and he did it tonight.
Yeah, I think if you think about the long-term midfield of FC Dallas, you've got Kaique and you've got Diego Garcia, both teenagers right now. I don't think there are two players on the entire roster with bigger engines than those two to be able to run for 90 minutes, and that's what you want in center midfield, so that's a promising sign for the future.
Yeah, you took that right off my brain. I was thinking the exact same thing. Nobody's going to outpace Dallas if those two are out there in the midfield. Well, before we look ahead to Saturday, we need to look around the Open Cup because Dallas does advance. They will play in 2 weeks in Harrison, New Jersey against New York Red Bulls on May 21st. I don't think we have a start time for that one just yet. We'll probably get a little bit closer, but we will have it on the FC Dallas Radio Network. But looking around just the Open Cup, what's going on, and we were talking in the pregame and even at halftime that the Cup yearns for blood and that we need the Cup set. And boy, NYCFC, sorry friends, it had to be you. Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1, NYCFC 0. Now, NYCFC did go down on a red card on that one, so the lower league team had the advantage with a man up, but they still got it done. It wasn't so lucky for some of the other teams, though. Minnesota 1-0 over Louisville. We might get penalties in Philadelphia, Indy 11.
I'm watching them right now. I think Philly's going to win, but it's still to be determined.
Well, so there's our correspondent there. Ryan will let us know there. New England staves off Rhode Island FC. They win 2-1. Orlando, goodness gracious, 5-0 over last year's Open Cup opponent for Dallas, Tampa Bay Rowdies.
And they had a 16-year-old score 2 goals. That's the Oscar Pareja special.
It really is. Just how they dial it up. Chicago 4, Detroit City FC 0. We see St. Louis 2-0 over Union Omaha. Probably the biggest story coming out of tonight so far, assuming Indy 11 doesn't come back against Philadelphia. In the 86th minute, El Paso Locomotive was up 2-0 on our friends in Austin, friends in quotation marks. 89th minute, Austin 3, El Paso 2.
That's no fun.
The Nico Estevez goal machine exploded tonight. It took about 10 matches, but it happened in the Open Cup. Barring a late goal there, El Paso is going to end up falling. Houston and Phoenix are going right now. That's 0-0. And then starting here in about 8 minutes, San Jose and Sacramento. So one cup set for sure. Maybe a second if Indy 11 can pull it off. Doesn't look likely. But at the very least, Dallas avoided one, and that's what really matters.
Well, the only thing that I will say about those scores is most of them are coming across the way you would expect them to, with the MLS team winning over the lower tier sides, USL Championship, USL League One, MLS Next Pro. I really love this tournament for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons I like sitting at home on some nights and just looking at all the little stadiums. And man, there's some great soccer facilities being built out. That game up at Rhode Island, that's a really cool looking new stadium. I believe the St. Louis game was at Union Omaha.
I think it was at St. Louis, but I think AV Alta is in that category as well. They built a really nice stadium.
Yeah, they spent a couple $1 million to renovate the baseball stadium there.
Louisville's got a nice stadium.
Louisville has a good one. Tampa Bay, that game tonight against Orlando, that's a cool little stadium.
We saw it last year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Ryan was on that trip. So these smaller venues, it's really cool to watch them and to see these games there. But as the teams disappear from the lower tiers, you're back into the MLS stadiums.
Yep, Philly officially winning there. The goalkeeper got a hand on the last penalty, but no cup set. with the Indy 11.
Indy 11 had a deep run last year, so I guess that will continue. And I got to say, I'm actually kind of the exact opposite, Steve. I love those early rounds when they're basically playing in like a public park. I remember I was watching the Tulsa Derby, and I think it was in the first or the second round, and it looked like they were playing just at a public park. And I just, I remember the Des Moines game when they played against, I think it was SKC2.
And just a bitter cold.
It just looked like all those stars. You got guys like, Sasha Kleiston and Matt Hedges were going, what did I sign up for? And I think you're right. It's incredibly fun for a lot of reasons.
Did Benny Feldhaber play in that game, or was that a fever dream
the team
online?
that he coached the previous year?
Yeah.
It's just the Cup creates a lot of fun stuff at every level, and I'm super glad that FC Dallas gets to advance and play in 2 weeks, because who knows? You're 4 wins away. Anything can happen in the U.S. Open Cup. But now we've turned our attention to Saturday. It's a league action for FC Dallas. It's against Real Salt Lake. Dallas already has a win against Salt Lake this year, but now we come back to home. Oh, by the way, that Diego Luna kid's probably going to be back, which makes it a whole different challenge. But if you're Dallas, you're encouraged for a couple reasons. One, you've won tonight. Winning is contagious. Two, we know at this point the looming potential returns of Pedro Musa and Paxton Pomykal. We don't know that they're happening on Saturday, but we're kind of in that any minute now, it feels like, moment for both those guys, and that's enough reason to...
Waiting for the white smoke, Sam?
Yes, the white smoke. We have not seen it. Maybe the red or the blue. I don't know what.
Red and blue smoke out of the Rhine down to our right.
And then we're going to see
Paxton's return.
Tech Super come out in a cassock and just give us the lineup card that has it. But like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. But we've been told this is right around the time those guys could be returning. And for a team that has struggled at home, just winning in general, B, getting those two talismanic type players would be so huge.
No, it would. And I think we've talked about how Pedro Musa solves so many of the team's attacking issues. I mean, he's missed the last few weeks, and he's still leading the team with 3 goals and 3 assists, although now Lucho has 4 goals. But in MLS play, it's still nobody with more goals than Pedro Musa, despite missing time. And, of course, Paxton can bring so much to the midfield. We talk about the industry of Kaique and Diego Garcia. We know Paxton has that, but he also has a little bit more to his game in terms of combining with a Lucho Acosta and advancing the ball into the final third. So I think he could be a huge piece if he comes back at even 80% of what he had been, in previous seasons for FC Dallas.
Well, let's just hope the confidence generated tonight down on the field translates into Saturday, because the team does need to put together more good attacking sequences. This is going to be the 5th league game at home. They have 1 win. They need a win Saturday.
Yeah, even with all the road success, they really need to find some form here at home, and they will get the chance to do that. It'll be RSL on Saturday. It's a 7:30 kick here from Toyota Stadium, so pregame will start at 7 o'clock on the FC Dallas Radio Network. It'll be myself, Steve, and Garrett Melser will step into the booth here for Ryan that night, so we will have ourselves a funnel time. And, hey, don't forget, on Friday, the FC Dallas agenda will come out a little bit late because we've had just a lot of work to do with a 3-match week, but we will get that recorded. I'm not sure exactly who the guest is going to be, but I'm sure it'll be someone really, really fun. So that'll drop Friday, and then, of course, Saturday, the game, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kick from here at Toyota Stadium. And, hey, if you want to come, FCDallasTickets.com is your hookup. Go see if you could see maybe a Moose and a Paxton sighting. They're all very possible at this moment. We're not guaranteeing anything, but anything's possible. But that's going to do it for tonight's FC Dallas postgame show. FC Dallas wins 3-1 in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup round of 32. For our engineer, Michael Clark, for Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her